Hello, everybody listening to the Fair Weather Podcast. Your boy 2K Suave. I'm joined with my dog Alex Rodriguez, and we have a special guest, as usual, from Townie Sports, Mr. Sami. Long time no see, Sami. How you doing?
Man, doing good, doing good. I've been listening to a lot of your pods recently, every week, and today, all that accumulation, you guys just got me fired up. So I was like, I got to come on here and talk a little shit with you boys.
Apparently, he wants all the smoke, and he's about to give me all the smoke.
No, just a little bit of smoke.
I'm ready for the smoke, A-Rod. I'm ready for the smoke. I haven't seen A-Rod smile this much in so long. I feel like all his stars have been aligning lately. I don't know who this guy is anymore. So
I was laying into him earlier, though. I feel bad. I'm sorry, A-Rod.
My anxiety is through the roof. Okay, so I'm doing great, by the way. It's another great episode. We're gonna have episode 93. I just really want to talk sports today, but yeah, I'm anxiety driven, and we'll get into it when we talk football. So
I gotta say, it's hard to be at work all day with all this stuff going on. Like, I'm trying to not focused at work. So I got A-Rod texting me updates. I'm getting updates from these Adam Schefter and this app and that app. I got, people in my office telling me updates about, oh, he signed here, and oh, you guys don't have him anymore. So it's been a very weird couple of days for me personally, compared to how it was last year with Mr. Howie Roseman. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, we got a lot to get to today. NFL, obviously, free agency is heating up. Trade deadline, not trade deadline, but the trades are starting to trickle in. People are getting cut, surprisingly or not surprisingly. NBA, both NBA and NCAA are in March Madness right now because the NBA feels very wide open. So we're going to talk about who's shut up. We're going to talk about who's real and who's just playing around right now. And then then we'll talk about the tourney. And then Sami, whatever is on your mind, you want to tell us what you want to talk about too, because again, all the smoke is being brought by Mr. Sami today. So let's start with the NFL. A lot of big stories. It's really hard for me to know where to start, but because we have Mr. A-Rod Jet Guy on the pod forever, talk to me, A-Rod. And Sami, you got to chip in too, because this is affecting your division directly. Juju's not going to be enough, but A-Rod,
don't get me started, bro. Don't get me started.
A-Rod, let's start with the big news circulating your team over the last week or two. Talk to me.
So yeah, it was I get a text around 12:30 from Jack, our newest member of the chat. Now we've got a new member in our chat named Jack, who was like, who's watching the Pat McAfee show today? And I already knew it. Like, I'm going into this show knowing it's going to be just like the Phantom of the Opera almost the entire time. Or, whose line is it anyways? You're not going to get the answer you want from the guy. So, but he came out there and he said, like, my intentions were to play for the New York Jets. So that's a big thing. The only thing that scares me in all of this now is, what are we giving up? And apparently I'm seeing it's not multiple first-round picks. I think it's only going to be one first-round pick, which I'll be okay with that. I'll be fine with that. But I need to see what else is being moved. And the whole time, like, my anxiety's being going through the roof. And the reason I say it's going through the roof, because usually when a trade happens, like, what's going down. Like, you're receiving this player, where the other team is paying him X amount of the salary. You're signing him for X amount of years. You're giving up X amount of things, and we haven't seen that yet. Yet this guy is literally strong arming an organization. He's literally being the GM right now. He's legit strong arming the GM, saying, oh, and on top of that, I have demands. I'm gonna need you to go get Alan Lazard. I'm gonna need you to get Randall Cobb. Why the hell he wants Mercedes Lewis, I don't know, but go get
How old is
Mercedes
Mercedes
Lewis.
Lewis?
He's
like 42.
bro,
He's got to be like 56 by now, right?
yeah, he might be that guy that goes to Applebee's with him. I don't know, man. But and then
That's
on
his
top
new
of that, you
Kumaro.
throw in, yeah, exactly. And all three of those, I guarantee you, they're easily obtainable. But then you hear the name OBJ. You hear the name OBJ, and I've been watching the Twitter feed, and I've been seeing players reaching out saying, like, "Is it true you're coming to New York?" And OBJ just sends eyeballs to them. So my biggest thing with all this, and this is what I was going to tell you earlier today, Sammy, like I can appreciate Rodgers a little bit in this situation because one, he knows he's a hot commodity. And like I always tell you, whenever I'm eating, I'm everybody else eats. So he's taking care of his friends in this route as well. I can appreciate that for him. I just hate it's happening to my team. I hate that the Pied Piper is leading, the rats over here. So we're literally going to be the New York Packers, and that's I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. All those guys are serviceable. They play well
with a better defense.
With a better defense, and I think they'll be able to fit into this scheme and everything. But just get it done. Like this saga and this story and everything is just like so drawn out. It's super annoying that I got to sit here and I'm used to a letdown in free agency, but at least I know Aaron Rodgers is coming. Now, the other side of it, let's flip it over. It is Aaron Rodgers. Anything could happen. He's a loose cannon. He could probably go out to the practice field and be like, you know what? I need to go on another dark retreat and just disappear for a while. Or he could sign a 1-year deal. And then what did we really do here? What did we give up for that?
Give up the farm for a hope of one Super Bowl in the next year or two. That's what y'all did.
Yeah, and that's
or will do.
That's not what I want to happen. I want these guys to like approach this logically. Okay? Said from the get-go, I wanted Derek Carr. I think we were both on the same page. All you got to do for Derek Carr is give him some money. Give him some money, and you can retain certain guys. You can bring in certain guys. They want to play with Derek Carr. Like the Saints just got Jamal Williams, the legitimate son of Dan Campbell. That makes no sense to me why he's on another team. But, there's no loyalty in the NFL, I guess.
Especially with running backs.
And not even with the Detroit Lions, bro, who fuck, man, those guys need it all. But now you've got Rodgers, and yes, it's an enticing piece. In my eyes, it makes them a playoff contender. It makes them, Super Bowl chat worthy, whatever you want to say. I don't jump the gun that quick because this guy's 39 years old, right? He's 39 or 40.
39.
Yeah, so he's an old guy. And we say it all the time. That's a bad man in the regular season.
You get the bad man on your team, man. It's crazy that it's happening, but it's not, because I watched Brett Favre do the same thing. And what did that get me off?
You can't compare him to Brett Favre, though. You can't.
Listen, their careers look exactly the same to me. Early Super Bowl and disappointment after.
No, look at the
Brett Favre didn't have MVPs.
Yeah.
And okay, that's fair.
And interceptions too. Brett Favre threw a shit ton of interceptions.
That's fair. That's
we can look at it as like a Packer thing. Like, is it the new Packer trend? Like, is Jordan Love coming next? We can look at it like that. But what I'm getting at is, like, I don't know how to feel about this right now. Like, my anxiety is through the roof.
Side note, Brett Favre has 3 MVPs, by the way. I just want to say.
Yeah, he has MVPs.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So same career.
I can see the comparisons, and I cannot see them at the same time. So I look at the interception thing, and Aaron Rodgers is pretty good at not doing that. But in our chat today, everybody was popping off at the mouth saying things, and then I got my other chats with people saying congrats, A-Rod, and I got my other people saying, the Jets are still trying, and I got all of this, and I'm like, nothing has been said yet. There hasn't been one thing said yet. Nothing. All it was a guy going on a stupid fucking show. Pat McAfee, a fucking punter.
Hey, well, put some respect on Pat McAfee's name. He's done very well for himself.
I'm not saying anything bad about him.
He's doing very well for himself after his NFL career.
I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying a punter show. That's all I'm saying. Just a punter. It wasn't like Joe
Show's
Rogan.
dope, though.
It wasn't Joe Rogan. It wasn't,
Who cares? Pat McAfee's better than Joe Rogan. Yeah, I said it.
It is. Yeah, he is. But all I'm saying is, like, out of nowhere, Brandon Marshall tried to pull it out of him. Adam Scheffner tried to pull it out of him. He said, delete my number. Whole bunch of people try to get it. He goes on Pat McAfee, and you know it's coming out there. But also, do we really believe him at the same time? Do we believe that that's what's going on?
I mean, at this point, the Packers they have no choice. But now it's about how much more can I get from the Jets before I make this, before I get rid of one of our greatest quarterbacks of all time, if not our greatest quarterback of all time. Obviously, it's not going to come that cheap. So they got to do what they got to do. I mean, they're doing their due diligence. We talked about the Ravens last week. Like, at the end of the day, they're playing their financial cards right with Lamar. And at the same time with the Packers, like, at the end of the day, they're ready to move on. Everyone knows they've been ready to move on. They drafted Jordan Love for a reason. And, Aaron Rodgers has had him hostage for a few years because he won a couple of MVPs. He was supposed to get $60 million guaranteed this year. It's a lot that they're dealing with over there. But I think this is perfect for both teams. I think the Jets need this, and they just need something to feel good about again. And the Packers are ready to just, move on to the next guy. I mean, you got to see what you have before his fifth-year option comes up. So,
and I'm 100% fine with it. I really am. This was like my second option. This is what I wanted. But the problem is like we don't have anything hammered out yet. It's not hammered out yet. It's like, okay, you go. No, you go. Okay, you go. No, now you go. And then, like, Aaron Rodgers is like, well, this is what's going to happen. And now there's like, aha, now we got you in a stronghold. Tell us, this is what we want from you now. So I'm curious to see what's going to be given up in this situation for Aaron Rodgers. And I just want it to be resolved, man. I want to wake up a happy Jets fan knowing I have Aaron Rodgers and knowing I'm going to have Aaron Rodgers for not that long of a time, but hopefully a serviceable amount of
wave.
And just, I'll get an A-Rod jersey. You know it. I'll get an A-Rod jersey. Don't worry. It'll happen.
All right, Mr. Patriot fan. How does this affect you? What are you seeing from what the Jets are doing right now?
You can ask A-Rod. Like, I hate New York, but I respect when I see an organization doing what they should be doing. And I've gave A-Rod the credit the last couple of years, seeing what they've developed over there, seeing the team that they put together, and always saying, like, it's scary. They're a quarterback away,
Can you do me a favor and just shout out Joe Douglas real quick? Because, I want to say you're welcome. That's all I'm going to say. You're welcome.
I'll shout out Joe Douglas. If Sammy says Rashford's the shit, that's all I need to hear from Sammy. And go Yankees one time. That's all.
No, relax. Let's not do that to him.
He's a Yankee fan now.
I got another week.
Anyway, Sammy, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, I mean, as for me, from a Patriots standpoint, I mean, it's whatever, right? It's whatever to me, just because I don't see what we have in place to compete with that anyway. In the first place, I knew if the Jets got incrementally better with, let's say, a Derek Carr, or even, I know A-Rod joked about it, but let's say they just waited till the end and got Taylor Heineke. That still probably would have been a much better situation than what the Patriots are in right now. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, screw them. Like, oh, we'll still smack them. Like, I have very little confidence in two of my teams, and that's the Patriots and the Red Sox right now.
Damn, that's
obviously tough. Very little confidence. And that's after what happened today. I was just like, this is such BS. But anyway, on the Aaron Rodgers situation, the only thing that I had to say about it, and now that A-Rod sounded off, we don't feel bad for you anymore, A-Rod. So if you get Aaron Rodgers, nobody's gonna feel bad for you.
Not at all.
So, but the only thing that I said about that situation was how screwed up it was that he's putting Green Bay in this type of situation, right? He's still under contract technically. He hasn't out for next year, but now Green Bay has no leverage, right? And I know Pat McAfee was saying, oh, leverage is different than the Matthew Stafford situation. I was like, actually, no, it's really not, because Aaron Rodgers we know what he can do, right? And we know that he'll sit out. Like, he doesn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, he's that type of player that I'll show up. If you want to play me, that's on you, but I'm still going to get paid. I'm still going to show up. So he's putting Green Bay in such a tough situation and trying to pull what he can out of, or they're trying to pull what they can out of the New York Jets.
And you guys were talking about it, what it's going to cost. And I'm with you, KK. I think it's going to cost at least 1 or 2 first-round picks. Now, this could be a situation where the Jets and Green Bay wait till after the draft. Maybe the Jets say, hey, let us use this draft. We'll make this deal after the draft and then give you our 2 picks after that. You know what I mean? Kind of look at the situation from that perspective. But especially if Green Bay is willing to wait because they know they don't have any leverage or anything right now, so I mean, it's just a really, really tough situation for both organizations. And like, what's the right thing to do? Because if there's no leverage, that means you're going to see a situation go through where it's like the Jets had to give up peanuts to get Aaron Rodgers, even though Green Bay was trying to pull the same deal that Russell Wilson got, from Denver. So yeah, it's just a really tough situation on both ends. And I didn't actually hate what Aaron Rodgers had to say today. I was actually appreciative of him being as transparent as he was trying to be. Now, do we know if he's telling the truth or not? I mean, we'll wait and see, right?
Do we believe that he actually was 90% considering retiring? Like, do I want to ask, like, do you guys believe that or what? Because I find that, I don't know. I feel like if he was 10% on the side of playing, I don't know how much ayahuasca you have to do to see visions of you being in a Jet jersey, but 10%, that's a very low number of wanting to come back. So are you led to believe that that's real?
I believe it. I do. I think you look at the landscape of the NFL and he probably, I think he's all about his image. And I said this, I said this earlier to A-Rod. I said, Aaron Rodgers is in a situation where they drafted Jordan Love. So then he got really insecure. He didn't want the same thing to happen to him that he did to Brett Favre, because that makes you look worse than you actually are. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's either retire while I'm on top. Right. I mean, still pretty respectable right now. He didn't have the greatest season, but it's not like he was like Peyton Manning at the end of his career. We're like, oh my God, what did he just throw? That's a duck. But, and does he want to play for New York, right? Like, do I want to do the same thing Brett Favre did? I'm sure he definitely had that type of internal struggle. And I get it.
Mm-hmm. For sure he did. But my biggest thing with him is like, so before the whole conversation happened now about, the Jets and them talking about trade, they had the trade hammered out. They had everything hammered out. We were just waiting for fucking Mr. Peyote over here to get back from his dark retreat. So I want to know what was said in that, because now once Aaron Rodgers comes out and says, oh yeah, my anticipation was become a Jet. Now the Jets are probably thinking like, oh, we're giving you way too much now. This guy thinks he's coming over here. Yeah. Like, let's revisit this trade and let's look and see what we can take out and how we can redo this and all that. So I'm curious to see, like, it works in our favor. I hope it works in our favor, because if I see we give up 2 first-round picks for this guy, that's gonna kind of eat at me. I'm not gonna lie.
That's then the cost of doing business, right?
Listen, I mean, yeah.
It is, but what I
want to win a Super Bowl is going to cost you some money.
It is, but like, bro, I told you, I'm dying on this hill. Never going to see a Jets Super Bowl. This is the closest I might get, though. This could be it. This might be it. So
this is the window.
I said this to Vic too, when he's always bitching and complaining about the Chris Sale situation, and I get it, but I was like, we got a championship out of that. So that's what you got to pay. Yeah, we're struggling now, but hey, that's what I got a ship. And A-Rod, that's where you should be right now.
That's why I asked A-Rod. Yeah, that's what I asked A-Rod last week. Like, if you get one championship out of this, and then for the next 10 years your team suck, how are you going to feel? Like, well, he said he's going to cry because that's what he never thought he was going to see a Super Bowl. So I get it. Like, I never thought the Eagles were going to win a Super Bowl. And, we had a couple bad years after that, and then had to deal with the whole Carson Wentz thing. I have to deal with the loss this year. So I'm not expecting to see another Super Bowl again. But if I do, I probably will cry. You know what I mean? Like, we're not like the Patriots who've won, 6? We're not like the Cowboys or the 49. Like, we don't have a history of winning all these Super Bowls. So when it does happen, it feels that much better. It's like, for example, Sammy, when you guys win a Super Bowl again, because it's going to happen again at some point, like, are you going to be as happy, or are you going to be like, finally, about time, we got back?
I'll probably say, yeah, finally. We got our shit together.
Listen, what I named this show the Fair Weather Podcast, to bring people down to earth, to humble them about stuff, okay? I'm happy by all means. Just get to the fucking playoffs and I'm happy, okay? Just get to the playoffs.
You're consistent with that.
I am. Just please get to my team suck. Outside of the Yankees, they suck. Just get to the fucking playoffs. I want to see because in the playoffs, everything changes. It all changes. A different mindset of play. It's more physical. You want this shit more, and
Coaching
I want
matters.
to see that come out of it. Yeah, coaching matters. Everything matters. So I need to see that. And this year we were right there when as soon as you said that shit, KK. Oh damn, y'all won like 5 games in a row. I was like, this could go left real quick, and sure enough, it did. I know this team too well. I know this team too well, and I would not be surprised if something happens to Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson still.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't put that juju out there now.
I'm not.
Don't put it out there now. Trust me.
The juju's in New England, so don't worry about that. But I'm prepared for at all times, man. Like I'm prepared for a letdown, but I'm being very positive. I want this to happen. I just want to see what is being given up.
Mm-hmm.
What
My man's about to have like the evil empire in baseball and have Aaron Rodgers. And he's like, I just want to make the playoffs.
I want to make the playoffs.
I do. I want to, bro. This team has been bad for so long. We've been bad for so fucking long.
You're my dog, bro. I'm happy for you.
I mean, you could be a Lions fan or a Browns fan, so it could be worse.
Exactly, it could be worse, but I'm right there with them.
He's in there. Yeah,
he's
with them.
But I would rather be a Jets fan than a Browns or a Lions fan. I mean, I lived in Detroit, and I could not be a Detroit Lions fan.
No, man.
I lived in Detroit, and I refused to cheer for that team. So, yeah, it's bad. But I want to get to another quarterback. But before I get to the other quarterback, we have you here, Sammy. So let's just keep it with your team. Just talk to me, like just be candid. If you need a shoulder to cry on, let me know.
This is gonna sound really bad, right? So I'm not gonna sit here and I know I said he sucked earlier, A-Rod. I'm not gonna sit here and say Juju Smith-Schuster sucks. He doesn't. He's a good wide receiver.
What?
But my whole deal with this situation was how quick we pulled the trigger without exploring other options, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like DeAndre Hopkins is technically still out there.
Mm-hmm.
The Jerry Jeudy situation is technically still out there. I didn't see enough pursuit of it, and I haven't seen anything on Twitter, gotten any updates about, oh, they rejected it or they did this or that. And I know those players are available. We all know those players are available. Now, maybe with the OBJ, there's still an injury thing, right? Like you mentioned, you said it perfectly. If Jerry Jones doesn't sign him, then there must be something going on.
They signed Greg Hardy. Don't forget.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried about that. I just didn't like the deal we gave him, right? And A-Rod's gonna make fun of me. The deal we gave him, we could have gave Jacoby Myers the same exact deal, and they're essentially the same exact player. And some of my buddies are saying, oh, but he can take the top off. I'm like, he can't take the top off anything anymore, not even his convertible, bro. Like he can't, he's not that type of wide receiver anymore. He's still a very talented wide receiver, but he's not going to be able to do what he did in Pittsburgh very early on.
He doesn't have AB on the other side getting the best corner.
Exactly. and last year, he put up only 100 more yards than Jacoby Smith, had 4 less touchdowns, and he wasn't even the focal point of the offense. So he should have been open way more. You know what I mean? Than Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers was the entire offense. Jacoby Myers was the entire offense. So we could have gave Jacoby Myers, a guy that's been with us, a guy we drafted, and a guy essentially that has the same skill set at this point of Juju Smith-Schuster's career.
Mm-hmm.
We could have gave him that same $11 million a year deal. Like that's what I'm mad about, because I'm like, oh, so this is what we think. Granted, there might be more on the horizon. Who knows? I know we usually draft pretty well. We're probably going to get some safety from a Division II school who's not really a safety, not really a linebacker, maybe plays corner. So, I'm waiting for that.
And then convert him to quarterback or something.
I mean, he's probably going to be good. Kyle Duggar was pretty good last year. So, I mean, but I just want to see if Mac Jones is decent. Like we see so many good flashes. I know you guys will probably say he sucks, but you see really good flashes that he could be a good quarterback.
That's going to be my next question for you. Is what does this mean moving forward for Mac Jones?
Like we're not putting him in situations to win. And I think it's a situation where now we're trying to Bills being either too like too arrogant or and trying to show that like I can turn a quarterback with nothing around him into something with some sort of system. And I was like, but bro, you got to give him some weapons, man. You can't do this like you did to Tom Brady in his last 4 years, where you're just giving him these trash bags to throw to, and Tom Brady's making them all look good. Like the Kembrell Tompkins year, like I talk about that year all the time. I don't know how we won 11 games that year. Like he had nobody to throw to, but Tom Brady does what he does. Mac Jones is not that guy. He's good. He can be good. He has the potential to be good, but he's not Tom Brady. And to put him on that type of pedestal, to give him that type of skill set of weapons is not fair to him. I'd rather go out and thankfully, we got rid of Jonnu Smith. I had high hopes for him. Didn't utilize him right. Maybe he just couldn't catch the playbook properly. That's my biggest thing. He has the talent to be a good tight end, and he probably will be wherever he goes. But we need more. You know what I mean? Like I just need another wide receiver or another high skill set tight end to prove that Mac Jones sucks. I'm not ready to say he sucks. No, I got you.
So, and I had a train of thought that I was going to go to, and it just, when you said Mac Jones sucks,
I apologize.
You're like, whoa. Damn, what was it about Mac? Well, it's something about Mac. Damn, Mac. A-Rod,
go ahead. He does have an offensive coordinator now. Yeah. So that's also a very good thing.
We know. All right. So, y'all situation is just all over the place, obviously. So it's like, is Patricia still your offensive coordinator?
Oh, Bill O'Brien's there now.
Oh, it's Bill O'Brien. I knew that. So that helps. That's a start. That's a start. Now have you heard?
I think that was because Robert Kraft probably was like, "What the hell are you doing?" to Bill in a side meeting, and was like, "You need to give us an offensive lineman," because I'm seeing on Twitter everybody's pissed, and Robert Kraft, he's cool, he's dope like that. He knows what's going on. So
thank you for saying that, because it reminded me of what I was thinking. So the problem with Bill is, how old is he? Like 71, 72, something like that. How old is Pete Carroll?
Older.
About the same age?
Yeah, about the same age, 70, I think.
Like 75.
What Pete Carroll just accomplished with Geno Smith is what Bill Belichick is trying to accomplish. Because Pete Carroll was like, look, I will get off of Russell Wilson, all the Legion of Doom, and build it back up again. And he did it. Bill's trying to do the same thing, because these old coaches who have a lot of pride need to prove it wasn't just Tom Brady, it was me too. It wasn't just Russ and Richard Sherman and them, it was me too. So Pete Carroll's already accomplished that. Andy Reid has accomplished that now, from Philly to Kansas City. Now it's like, Bill, are you really the greatest coach of all time? Like,
the defense is there. Like everybody saw it. That defense was gassed in every single game. That defense kept us in games that we should have got blown out in. Like we should have got blown out in at least 4 games, blown out. But that defense kept us in it. We just couldn't move the ball on offense. I think it was either equal, or we had like almost the same amount of touchdowns on defense as offense. So like the defense is there. The defense shows something, and he's building that.
That's his cup of tea.
That he's brilliant at that. And it's showing with like random guys, right? Like guys we didn't even get in the first round, or just guys that weren't on anybody's radar, and just turning him into really good system players. Yeah. And on offense, it's just he doesn't. And I'm glad you mentioned the Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks, because like he does have a wide receiver there that's pretty good. A guy named DK Metcalf that technically the Patriots should have drafted. That I kill myself every time.
Not only him, there's a lot of receivers past.
The wide receivers they took, or they could have taken over N'Keal Harry. So,
and the thing is with comparing, I don't want to, obviously you can't compare the two. It's two different systems and everything like that. But with New England, obviously, what he's doing with the defense is what he does, because he can go get no-name players and put them on defense and make them a thing. But his same philosophy is what he's trying to do on offense. And obviously that's not going to, like the way the league is now, you need to go get talented players. Like these no-names, it doesn't work like that anymore. Like you need speed, you need quarterbacks with some kind of mobility or something. Like you need tight ends who are hybrid. Like you need to adjust to this high-flying, high-scoring NFL, and he's still kind of stuck in that, New York Giant 80s stuff. And he needs to, I don't know how he's going to get out of that, I think bringing in Bill O'Brien will. I mean, come on, like he had Josh McDaniels with him like for some time, and that makes Bill's job so much easier. But now, obviously, Matt Patricia and Joe Judge or whatever they were trying to do are not offensive coordinators. So Bill can only put so much effort on defense and have to all right, let me fix the offense. Like it's too much. So I think Bill O'Brien is going to serve well as a good offensive coordinator. But the problem with that you guys are going to face is that the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets might be better than y'all. You know what I mean? The Dolphins.
But we play really well in division.
Yeah,
like historically, we play really well.
So
he knows them. He knows all of those coaches. He knows their tendencies, and I think that's the big benefit we have, that we're not going to get blown out in division. It's going to be the AFC East is going to be so loaded.
Yeah,
and I'm afraid that the AFC East is going to beat themselves up when they get to the playoffs. It's you see what I'm trying to get at, Aaron?
I can see the same thing with the NFC. I can see the same thing with the NFC East. The Giants are obviously getting better. I think Washington is right there. They just need certain things to break their way. And then we're not the same team as last year. Obviously, it's that dream is dead. But we still have Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and Jason Kelce. Like we have a lot of the pieces to still be competitive. So I'm just saying. I mean,
y'all are still gonna be fine.
We're the defending NFC.
Don't do this. Don't do this again.
I'm gonna look at the schedule and then I'll let you know how I really feel.
He wants Eagles compliments again, A-Rod.
I think the AFC East and the NFC East are going to be pretty similar, but taking the attention away from the East, I haven't talked to you about this yet, Sammy. Me and A-Rod have been talking about Lamar Jackson for the last few weeks. Sammy, I just want to get your take because they the Ravens today, they just what do they do with Tyler Huntley? Oh, they placed a right of refusal tender on him or whatever. So what does that mean in English, Sammy?
That I'm not sure. I didn't really look into that, but I do have some takes on Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
And that's
really quickly, Huntley's restricted status means the Ravens will be able to match any offer presented to the quarterback. That's what it means. All right, go ahead.
My take on that, I actually really loved, and for your fans out there, I hope they go back and listen to what you guys talked about last week with Lamar Jackson. I thought you guys both had really, really great takes, and it got me really fired up. Right, I'm on my run, and it kept me going. But my thing with the Lamar Jackson situation is, and I've been the biggest Lamar Jackson apologist forever, forever.
All three of us.
It's kind of to a point where it's like, all right, I think A-Rod likes to say it's like shit or get off the pot, right? Like we know you can throw, right? We think you can throw, but you're not throwing, right? Like what is it because of the situation he's in? Is it because of the offense, or is it his comfort level? And I think it's a little bit of both, right? And I think A-Rod nailed it, hit it on the head when he was nervous about Lamar Jackson going to the Jets because he doesn't know the comfort level of him throwing the ball. And is that going to ruin what the Jets built with their wide receivers, their running backs, and things like that, which got great running backs. They have potentially probably one of the best wide receivers in the league, or can be one of the best wide receivers in the league. And so if you bring a guy like that who maybe can't run the offense the way that the Jets want to run that offense, it's going to be a struggle, right? And I think that we get really caught up in the numbers and the contracts and comparing contracts to other contracts and things like that. But Lamar Jackson is a unique situation where it's like we had the MVP season, right? And you talked about this. That's one season, right? And you also mentioned that you said Allen Robinson is trash because he's only had one good season. So I'm trying to figure out where you're at, KK. Like, are we good for one season or are we trash for one season?
There's a difference between wide receiver and quarterback. Like, if you're the unanimous MVP as a quarterback, you're not trash. A-Rob on the other hand, just played and was always behind. So his stats were inflated.
When's the last wide receiver to win MVP though? So
I know, but his stats were inflated when he was quote unquote having a good year because Jacksonville was always behind and Chicago was always behind. So fourth quarter,
Blake Bortles.
And it didn't matter. They only had A-Rob and what was the other guy's name?
Who knows? Who cares?
I forgot his name. It wasn't Marvin Jones. Whoever it was.
I think it was
they only
Marvin
had
Jones.
those
No,
two.
it wasn't Marvin Jones.
Yeah, it was some light skinned dude. But anyway, that's all he had. So of course his numbers look a lot better. But overall, throughout his career, he's had 2 good years, and the rest have been meh. And he's an 8th year player now. Lamar, on the other hand,
well, Lamar Jackson is what, a 6-year player? We're only 2 years off.
But the thing with Lamar is that, all right, year 1, he didn't play the whole season. Year 2, when did he win MVP? Year 2 or year 3?
I think it was year 2.
Year 2. So year 2, he wins unanimous MVP. Now, year 3, he still has a good year, but it's not what year 2 was. And then 4 and 5,
but it wasn't
the end of the season
wise.
when he got
passing
hurt.
wise, it wasn't great. That was the point I was trying to get at. Like,
well,
more so his passing stats.
My problem
really
was
running.
Greg Roman, because the offense never changed. Like, the offense that Greg Roman runs or ran or whatever has not changed. Like, it's so, you know how we get on the Bucks, you know, with what was his name? Not Leftwich, how the plays became very predictable. That's how it felt with Lamar and the Ravens. Like, you watch enough film and you know what's happening. Is it a read handoff? Is he actually going to get out? Is he actually going to throw the ball deep? Is he like, it just got too easy. And then on top of that, they had no explosive players. Mark Andrews is their number 1 receiver by a mile. And then Rashad Bateman was hurt his first year and just kind of finding his footing now. Marquise Brown dropped every single pass. Like, I literally watched Marquise Brown drop with my own eyes 10 passes. So there was never any consistency with the receivers either. Now, so yes, you can blame quarterback for some things. Obviously, it's not like he's perfect, but go look at his statistics. His winning percentage is amazing. His touchdown to interception ratios are amazing. It's not like he's dinking and dumping. Like, he's actually, you know, throwing the ball like down the field. I've seen him make some tight window throws, you know, etc.
So I'm glad I'm my last point before I'll let A-Rod take it because I feel like I'm talking too much. But the one thing, I knew you were going to come up with that. Like, I knew you were going to say that about his stats. So the other thing I want to bring up is, you look at Lamar Jackson, right? Who's his probably number 1 target? It's going to be Mark Andrews, right? Mark Andrews has not been the same since that MVP season. Why is that? It's not like it's a situation where you look at Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Now, I'm not saying Lamar Jackson is supposed to be Pat Mahomes, right? But he shouldn't fall off as much, because if you look at Pat Mahomes' situation this year, still had an incredible year, still had Travis Kelce. I'm not going to say he had a good crew of wide receivers. Let's not go there, right? Like, we can kind of probably compare the wide receivers that Pat Mahomes had this year to what Lamar Jackson had. Now, granted, like you said,
I'm taking the Chiefs wide
Greg Roman,
receivers that they had over whatever Baltimore had.
So you could maybe say Juju. Who else?
I'm taking Marquez Valdez-Scantling
Come on. I love USF.
Over Duvernay, over old ass Deshaun Jackson, they brought in what's his name from the Chiefs, that he got released by the Chiefs and they picked him up at the end of the year. Like, like
Sammy Watkins.
I mean,
he got hurt, and we all knew he was going to get hurt.
Have at least 10 running backs this season and signed at least 2 or 3 old wide receivers this season, because all their training staff has to be that bad that every single player gets hurt. Like, the problem with the Ravens is that they never have any consistency. Like, it's like sometimes Rashad Bateman's going to play, sometimes Isaiah Likely is going to be a leading receiver. Like, it's all over the place.
Running backs constantly get injured.
And the other thing is Lamar needs to stay healthy. Like, I don't know if it's his style of play, or is he getting, like, I don't know if these injuries are happening in the pocket, or is it because he's taken out? I'm not sure. But that's obviously the money, the $200 million problem is that you haven't finished the last 2 seasons, which is a lot of to me, it's more of that than his actual talent.
So for him to feel offended by the 33 or 32.5 million tender that they put on him, I don't think is that bad. Like, I don't think he was slighted at all. Granted, he probably wants a longer contract, but that's a lot of investment to put in somebody that has 1 good year, you know, like you say, 1 good year, injured for the other 2, and is a liability. I don't think
liability in what way?
Huh?
Liability in what way?
Well, you don't because of his body type and how he plays. Like that's a liability, right?
Yeah.
Like you put $50 million over 5 years in a guy and he tears his ACL your first season. There you go. You just lost $50 million.
I mean, Kyler Murray just happened to it, and they're not moving off of him. Dak Prescott, he broke his leg, and they gave him a deal. So if you actually care about your players, like Jerry Jones loves Dak Prescott, clearly, right? Do we know if DaCosta actually loves Lamar Jackson as much as he says he does, and Harbaugh actually
at this moment? Now, I'm not saying potential. At this moment, with what they've proven, if you had to throw one pass to win a game, who would you take, Dak Prescott or Lamar Jackson?
I'll take Lamar.
One pass to win a game, you're taking
Dak
Lamar.
Prescott throws a lot of interceptions.
Throwing
Dak
the
Prescott
ball.
missed 5 games and had the lead. It was tied for
Everything
the
is
lead.
equal. They get enough time. The guys, you know what I mean? Who are you taking? I mean, Dak Prescott has proven that he can throw the ball better than Lamar Jackson. At this point, I'm not saying he's better.
That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with you. I mean,
I know you. Maybe that was a bad choice.
I wish you would have said anybody else, but that's fine.
Well, you get my point. You get my point. You get what I was trying to get at.
I got you.
Sorry,
All right,
Rod. Go ahead.
No,
Obviously, you know you're not getting Lamar anymore, because I know that was part of the conversation with you before. So now that you know Lamar's off the table for you, now give me like a better assessment of what you think.
Lamar is not off the table. This is Aaron Rodgers we're dealing with.
Bro. You're getting Aaron Rodgers. Stop.
This is my team, and anything can happen. But I'm not focused on Lamar. I'm focused on Aaron. Trust me. I'm all over the place right now. I'm like a fucking new puppy in a new house. I don't know what to do.
Pissing everywhere.
I don't know where to sleep. I don't know where my food is. I don't know what's going on with my team. But what I was going to get at with Lamar and the Ravens is, seriously, like, this is a team, and it goes before Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco, I can only think of like 2 solid good receivers that the Ravens have had. Did they draft Bolden, or did they
they traded for him, or
they traded for
whatever it was, free agency. But yeah, no, they didn't draft him.
So they don't draft well the receiver. They got Steve Smith and they got Bolden, and it worked. Other than that, who are the greatest receivers?
And they didn't draft either one of them.
No, exactly. Who are the greatest receivers that they've ever had? Derek Mason, whoopty fucking do. I can't think of any.
Not wrong.
They don't draft receivers, okay? So they sign. So even for them to win the Super Bowl that year, they had to go get an Anquan Bolden. They had to go get whatever talent there was out there to pair with that, because I don't think Steve Smith was on that team yet.
Not yet, no.
Came afterwards.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that they did for Joe Flacco. So for Lamar Jackson, was what we were saying earlier. They do the minimal amount. They do the minimal amount and like pray it'll work. And they're guys that you're having as your 3s, your possible 2s, possible, a bridge until the other guy comes back healthy, something like that. And the running backs, like, we're told they're supposed to be this good. And when you look at the fantasy numbers, they look amazing on fantasy. But realistically, when you're rushing the ball 15 times for 40 yards and a touchdown, like Lamar's rushed for 10 times and has 110 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I feel like with Lamar Jackson, and if we tailored it to the Jets, like, I want to believe I've seen him throw the ball. I know he can throw the ball, but he's not throwing the ball enough. He's not getting that ball out, and he's not throwing to him. Mark Andrews is his only guy, and Mark Andrews isn't running down the field. Mark Andrews is running a slant route, and he's hitting him 30 yards out max. That's it for Andrews. And Andrews is getting a separation, and he's taking off. And Andrews had a great year last year. He was really good last year. Wasn't like his MVP season or Lamar's MVP season, but outside of that tight end position, I mean, we were told this guy, like, what's his name? What's his name? The other
Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, we were told he was going to be the shit. Mark Andrews went out one game, and that guy balled out. He had like 3 touchdowns that game. And after that, abysmal. So the Ravens have kind of like, pigeonholed themselves in a way. They've literally just, you've got this guy who deserves to be paid. In my eyes, he deserves to be paid. Like,
paid what?
Whatever.
What's your number? What's your number? If you could sign him, what would be your number?
I can't dictate that. I'd give the man what he wants because I like his gameplay. But Deshaun Watson fucked this all up for everybody.
You know what?
That rapist.
I'm gonna go. Let me go back. and I think I mentioned it last week or a couple, whatever it was. Deshaun Watson made it weird, but outside of Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, it's not like everyone's getting crazy contracts that are $230 million guaranteed. Since then, Kyler Murray has been paid. Derek Carr has been paid. Daniel Jones has been paid. A couple others, and they've all looked more like how it was just a year prior to that. 4 years, 160. Incentives. It's not we're not going to see another 230 guaranteed. And the problem that Lamar has, and again, I'm gonna say it, and I know he tweeted it out. Oh, I need an agent. And he's trolling or whatever. The thing that an agent can do for you is like Lamar is sitting in these meetings with the GM and the owner talking about his play, his body, his this, his that. That's a lot that you have to take on, it's just too much for one person to have to deal with.
Yeah, you guys nailed it on the head in your last episode.
And I know the NFLPA is helping with it too, but that's their players. Like it's hard. Like Drew Rosenhaus is a lawyer, and he's getting people contracts that don't even deserve them. Like Antonio Brown was getting contracts for no reason because of Drew Rosenhaus. You know what I mean? So it's like Lamar just needs to he's never going to bite that bullet. I think he's dug in. I think, like I said, they're in this weird part where NFL players want guaranteed contracts. That is plain and simple. They watch the NBA and they're jealous. Every time I watch any NFL podcast, they always talk about how jealous they are of the NBA. So the NFL players are trying to find a way to, Lamar, you got to be the guinea pig, because it just so happens that it's time for you to get paid. And the way it works, you were an MVP, so they should be paying you a lot. And anything less than what Deshaun Watson is getting will be a slap in the face to him based on just the situation that it is. But realistically, if you were asking me, how much would I give Lamar? I would give him a shorter deal. So I think he tweeted 3 years, 133 million was what they offered.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably giving him something like that, or a Daniel Jones contract, 4 years, but not 160. Because obviously, I'm not going to do that to you. I'll say 4 years, 190 million, which comes out to 47.5 a year. That's if they would have franchised him. I know, Sammy, but if they would have franchised him the other way, that's what the franchise tag is. It's 44.5 or 40, something like that. So I would give him that number over 4 years, 180, 190, and then guarantee 150. That's what I would do if I'm the GM. And take it or leave it. I don't know if I trust Huntley that much, but if I need to trade up in the draft and go get me or whatever, I'm gonna try that too. I'm gonna open up that avenue too. So.
So there's hope for Mac Jones yet. If everybody's saying Lamar Jackson needs weapons to show that he's good, so does Mac Jones. Free Mac Jones, baby.
Outside of Tom Brady, who has ever not had weapons and was a good quarterback? The one thing I'm gonna always give Tom Brady, when it comes to who's the greatest, this and that, he literally was somebody who did a lot with nothing. So outside of Tom, Peyton Manning needed a Reggie Wayne and a Marvin Harrison. And then even when he got to Broncos, Demaryius Thomas, God rest his soul, was fantastic. Derek Decker, name a quarterback. I mean, Troy Aikman had Michael Irvin,
but another thing too is developing talent too. If you can develop talent, like Aaron Rodgers has done that with every receiver that's been there. He got Donald Driver at his old age, I think, or he was just budding into a star at that point. I don't know if he came from the Brett Favre era or whatever, but after that, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, Greg Jennings, Christian Watson. Now, he's made receivers around him, and that's something that's rare that you find. That even Peyton Manning did that. Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, who was the white boy receiver? Stokely, yeah.
But you got to be talented no matter what. You have to be uberly talented. I look at the Patriots receivers and the Ravens receivers, and I don't see that much physical gifts and talent when I watch. I'm
the same thing.
The way Jacoby Myers being your best receiver is not healthy. he is a decent number 2 to me. Like
I feel like the Patriots offense and the Ravens offense are the Spider-Man meme, just pointing at each other.
I agree. Because I'm a closet Alabama Roll Tide football fan. So obviously I have a soft spot in my heart for Mac Jones. And I want to see him be more successful. I know he has it in him, but when he was in college, he was throwing to like amazing receivers.
NFL talent.
All
NFL
first round
talent.
picks. He was throwing to first round pick receivers. Now he's throwing to Jacoby Myers. Hunter Henry can't play more than 8 games a year.
Hey, Jacoby Myers just got his bag. He was like he was undrafted. Yeah. He just got a bag.
So did Mac Jones make him? If that's, I don't know. Is that what he did?
I don't know. That dude works his ass off though.
No,
I love that guy.
He's a leader.
What I was gonna get at though, really quick, is like maybe that's what the Ravens thought that they were gonna expect from Lamar Jackson. You know, we're gonna draft Perriman in the first round. We're gonna draft Bateman in the first round, and you're not getting anything from these guys.
You know why they did that? They just name the players you just mentioned. Perriman, fast, track speed. Bateman, fast, track speed. Hollywood Brown, fast, track speed. They only drafted for speed. I don't think they like when we drafted what's his name from TCU, whose name I don't even want to talk about, over Justin Jefferson.
Rhymes with Schmaven Fager.
That guy, Voldemort. Like we drafted him because he was fast. Like Justin Jefferson was clearly more talented, but we made the mistake of drafting the fast guy. And I feel like that's what the Ravens keep doing. Oh, he's fast. He should be fine. They don't have like a polished route runner. Like they don't have somebody who, going over the top to get a ball. Like they don't draft those kind of players, except for Mark Andrews. Like Mark Andrews is the only player on that team that can do any of that stuff. The rest of them rely too heavily on speed. And it does not work for whatever offense they're trying to run. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. All right, moving on. Now, instead of like going through every single, free agency signing and trade that's happened, because it's a lot. I mean, Miles Sanders is not an Eagle no more. Darius Slay is not an Eagle no more. Kazir White is not an Eagle more. I can go on. So I know me personally, I've lost a lot of players on my team, but we've kept a few. And a lot of new faces and new places. Jesse Bates, Miles Sanders, Derek Carr. You mentioned it earlier, Jamal Williams. I want each of you to give me like 2 winners so far that you see through the first few days of free agency and trades in the offseason, and then 2 losers. And please give me different ones. I'm gonna start with you, Sammy, because you're the guest. So give me like 2. Give me 2 teams that are winning right now in free agency, draft, post Super Bowl.
Go ahead, A-Rod. I got to look at this real quick because I got a couple that I'm thinking
about. Cannot mention the Jets, A-Rod. The Jets are out of the question because we've already spent 45 minutes talking about that damn team. So
yeah, that's obviously a big one for me. The winner for me definitely is the Saints with Jamal Williams. I think Detroit really fucked up here because we praise that guy so much and what he does for that team. You saw the Hard Knocks episode, how emotionally it was.
That got me. Still got me.
I feel like that's the guy that team rallies around. And Dan Campbell's a weird motherfucker. And that is like his illegitimate son. That is his illegitimate son. The same kind of caliber guy that Dan Campbell is. I guarantee you Dan Campbell is crying right now in his office knowing that Jamal Williams will not be walking through that.
What was the contract difference between Montgomery and Jamal Williams? Because first of all, we all know David Montgomery is going to miss like 4 or 5 games. So we just have to expect that already. I'm going to look up these contract differences because like, if it was only a couple $1 million, that's when it's like really bad because like, come on, like he was clearly the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah, look it up. I think Montgomery got a 3-year deal, and I don't know if Jamal got a 2 or a 3. I'm not sure. But
all right, Montgomery got 3 years, $18 million. And Mr. Jamal Williams got 3 years, $12 million.
Oh shit!
So they paid more for Montgomery.
I think Montgomery's a better back, but here's where I say the Saints are winners here in my book, because you got Jamal Williams. He put the league on notice with his 17 touchdowns last year. Now you got Alvin Kamara, who may be having that gun charge possession and maybe missing some games. So,
or Jamal Williams could just be their Mark Ingram,
where he can be their Mark Ingram. Correct.
Yeah.
Same type of tandem that they do.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing. Once again, you got a younger Mark Ingram now, a power runner, and Jamal Williams. He also has hands, though. He can catch the ball and run too.
Yep.
So I think they did well by signing Jamal Williams. I think that's a big get for them. Another one I like, and call me crazy again, man. I love this kid, and I hope he does well. I want a team to, and this is probably a horrible place for him to go to, but I just want a team to just take a chance on him, because he's made won some big games. You know I'm going to say it. Tyler Heineke, baby. I love it in Atlanta. I like that get for them. I feel like he doesn't have to compete with Desmond Ridder. If anything, Desmond Ridder has to beat him out.
What round did they draft Desmond Ridder?
Like third or fourth. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't owe him nothing.
Yeah, they don't owe him anything.
They don't owe him nothing.
I just feel like he's a guy that when you counted him out, he won games for you. And then he was like your lab rat, basically. You threw him out there and you're like, oh, we're gonna win some games, but we need to see how this guy's doing. And then he sucks. You're like, okay, put Heineke back in. He starts winning. And then when he loses the game, you bench him. So it doesn't make sense to me that a guy that even who was Scary Terry wanted to play with him. He was like, this is my
Scary Terry loved him some Heineke.
Exactly. So I think Tyler Heineke in Atlanta for a fresh start. I want to see that happen. Teams as a whole, though, the Texans are signing some players. Right now. They've went and got some good caliber players. They got Robert Woods. They got Sheldon Rankins from us. They went and got an O-line guy. I can't remember who it was, but I know they're talking about moving Laramie Tunsil, but
they got Jimmy Ward.
Yeah,
Jimmy Ward.
Jimmy Ward, yeah.
Wow.
But they're putting together a little squad to try and make a run with their new quarterback, whoever it's going to be. So I like what the Texans are doing. As far as losers, I'm going to
Shaq Mason too. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow.
That's the O-lineman they got. Yeah, Shaq Mason. I'm gonna shit on the Lions because I really don't like that trade for or not the trade, the signing of Montgomery and getting rid of Jamal Williams. I don't like that. They're both the same kind of back, both power backs. I just think Jamal Williams was that guy for you. And another team that I think is losing is, who's another one? The Green Bay Packers, because somebody's going somewhere else. There you go. So
you don't think Jordan Love is going to be solid enough? Like we've seen him play a couple of snaps here and there.
I personally think Jordan Love was a spite pick. Like, get the fuck out of here, Aaron, is what I think that pick was. Like, I'm the head honcho. I call the shots, you don't. And then all Aaron Rodgers had to do was like, whenever your girl is mad at you, do one of these. And he got his way. So is what it is.
All right. Sammy, the floor is yours. I hope you got your research done.
Yeah. I was unprepared with some of the smaller signings, but now I am. I just went through it. So A-Rod already took Atlanta. I really like that as well, the Taylor Heineke. So I'm going to second that. That's not my choice, but I am agreeing with that. I think low-key the Steelers continue to load up. They got Patrick Peterson. They got Cole Holcomb at linebacker. I think they're just going to load up on defense continuously. I think that's the key. If you don't have a quarterback, you just got to continuously load up on defense, wait for that window to get the quarterback for yourself and move on. So I like what the Steelers are doing. It pains me to say, but hey, I got to give them credit where credit's due. And then lastly, I think the Giants. Added a tight end. Hopefully he can play. Hopefully he will play. Hopefully he'll be consistent.
I don't hope. I know. F that.
No, I just mean for Darren Waller. I like Darren Waller.
I know.
So I hope.
I'm proud of his story.
Yeah.
He has a beautiful wife. Kelsey Plum, you are a gorgeous woman. All right, continue. Sorry. Sidetrack.
So good for the Giants. Again, I hate New York, but I got to give them props where it's due. I think adding him, and then they got that linebacker. Let me see, from Buffalo, I believe, right?
Wayne Edmonds.
Yeah. So again, just
They got
continuously to just continue to build on what they were.
too.
Huh?
Okiriki, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
from Indianapolis.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, continue to building depth on that defense, adding more weapons for Daniel Jones to give intermediate passing game. So we'll see. Obviously, like you guys had said on your last podcast, what's going to happen with, Saquon Barkley and stuff like that. But and then as for the losers, I'm going to be a cop out and say New England Patriots, man, we don't do shit. We're not like, actually, it's a good one to say, because 2 years ago we were all talking about how they won free
because
agency.
they spend money.
Yeah. But now, come on, that's the best we can do. Again, there's so many things to fall, right? Like there's so many things yet to happen. So we're going to see, but yeah, just seeing what everybody else is doing around, seeing people making those moves. Granted, it's a little bit early. We still don't have the draft yet. So, a lot of teams want to wait for that, especially New England likes to wait for the draft, notoriously, but yeah.
All right. So if the Eagles are able to re-sign CJ Gardner-Johnson, then I'll feel a little bit better,
though, because the Eagles lost a lot of people. So.
I will feel a little bit better if we can hold on to him, because I'm like, that meme of that guy about to jump off a cliff and then drink bleach or whatever. Yeah, that guy. That's how I was starting to feel. I'm like, yo, we're really just gonna gut this whole team. Like, what the hell? We was right there. Like, I was at work and. We had a Zoom call. Literally, they were like, "Hey, how's everyone's day going?" I took my mic off of mute. I said, "My day is going horrible. We're going back into the dungeon." So that's how I was feeling. So as long as we re-sign CJ Gardner-Johnson, I'll start to feel a little bit better about our situation. But that's besides the point. Now, I'll start with my loser, actually. My losers, because I'm. Save the good for last. I'm gonna call the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a loser. It's fun that I get to talk about this because the last few years,
Baker Mayfield.
The last few years have been Tom Brady. Now, Baker Mayfield. Listen, whatever other signings the Bucs do, it doesn't matter to me, because they.
Hey, hold on, real quick. Hey, Rod, you might like this. Patriots just signed James Robinson. Yeah.
I meant to say that.
When's your running back coming back?
Ramondre.
No, you, A-Rod.
We'll be ready for preseason.
Okay. Anyway, I don't care what the Bucs, held on to Jamel Dean, gave him a lot of money. They've lost some offensive linemen already. They're just getting rid of players left and right. I'm surprised they were able to hold on to Levante David, because I thought he would walk and go somewhere else. But he's old. And now he's still taking up, cap space with his old ass. Anyway,
he was still serviceable. He should die a buck. He should die a buck.
But he's old. And linebacker, you need to have your what's that word called? Your switch. Didn't
you say that about Bobby Wagner? And look what he did last year.
Bobby is a Hall of Famer. Like, he's one of the greatest linebackers of all time.
David's a Hall of Famer.
No, I know that, but he's not first, second, third ballot. We know he's going. Well, homie's going first, maybe second. So anyway, Baker Mayfield. I question his leadership. I question his decision making.
Everything.
I question his abilities, his throwing. I question a lot of things with him.
His commercials, his dancing,
everything. Chris Godwin has become a guy under the guise of Jameis Winston and Tom Brady. Now, I don't know. We'll see if Baker Mayfield is going to be able to extrapolate that talent. But I did see OBJ leave the Browns, go to the Rams, and was probably almost about to win the Super Bowl MVP. So, and within 8 or 9 games of playing for that team. So, I don't know how much they're going to get out of Baker. On top of the fact that they have a defensive head coach who's not going to be able to help Baker. Like we saw when Baker had Hugh Jackson, I mean, no, it wasn't Hugh Jackson. No, when Baker didn't have an offensive guru kind of coach for him, he did not look that good. Then he got the offensive guru, and he started to look more serviceable. If he, with what's his name, A-Rod, your old coach from the Jets, Bucks coach. Oh my
Bucks
God!
coach.
Like,
Oh, it's not Bulls.
Bowles is not going to be able to help Baker. On top of the fact that Bowles is such a religious guy, and Baker's kind of wild. So I don't know how this is gonna work. So I'm just gonna call that a loser right now. Then I'll give you a winner. I'm gonna call San Francisco a winner. They took Javon Hargraves from us, and Javon Hargraves was getting through that line just during the playoffs. So now you take it away from the enemy. It's that's big. I think them getting your boy Sam Darnold. We know quarterback is going to get hurt in that offense. We just obviously 2 or 3. I think Sam Darnold is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo is good and he did what he did, but it's not like Sam Darnold is that much less talented. So I think that's good to have him there as well. And then and to me, like and they haven't lost a lot of players either. Like I feel like San Francisco's infrastructure still looks really good. So I think San Francisco is going to be, better. I think they're the team to beat in the NFC this year. On top of the fact, I'm gonna name my other winner. I'm gonna give it to the Cowboys. You gave it to the Giants, and I agree. I give it to the Cowboys. I mean,
you put that division on notice though. That's your fault.
I mean, somebody had to. Guys, I'm sorry. Like we've been carrying the NFC East for 20. Well, no, the Giants did their thing, but outside of those 2 lucky Giants, go look at their record. We're 31-15 against the Giants since 2000. 31-15. Look at Eli Manning's record, 500. He just had.
He's got these on posted.
Eli Manning got 2 of the most perfect postseason runs ever. Outside of that, he's a massive disappointment. Anyway, damn, I lost my train of thought. But no, the Cowboys, I think coming off of Zeke is like that. Jerry Jones is finally starting to learn how to detach himself from his love for a player. Now, maybe he tries to bring him back.
Though?
Huh?
You see those cornerbacks though?
But they got
crazy.
Now I was gonna get there. So I was gonna start with Zeke. So, and even if they bring Zeke back, it's not going to be nowhere near the amount of money that they were supposed to pay him. So they did he finally did a good job with that. But yes, Stephon Gilmore is he's a all-pro caliber corner. So now Trevon Diggs can take as many chances as he wants now. I think the Cowboys, and then also, what scares me as a Eagle fan, I think the Cowboys are gearing up to do something in the draft. Like they might be the one that they might draft the Bijan Robinson now. Like Tony Pollard is about to be coming off of like it was ACL, MCL, whatever injury. Like they're gonna need another running back. I think they're gonna make a move for that. I mean, they held on to Leighton Vander Esch. I think that takes up a little bit of cap space, but he's good for them. But outside, I think Zeke
that much.
I think the Zeke release and the Stephon Gilmore signing, and then us losing Darius Slay with that in that because they're the same player at this point to me. Stephon Gilmore and Darius Slay, kind of old, but they do their job. I think it was like a slap to my face as an Eagles fan, like we're about to get Stephon Gilmore, so I'll give them some credit. I think the Cowboys and the Giants in the NFC East have done a good job. I think San Francisco has done a good job. I think the Bucks have done a bad job. And then another one that I think has done a bad job. No. The Bears have done a very good job as well. I'm gonna say that too. The Bears have done a fantastic job as well. Now, who's done a bad job? Who's not doing anything? Like there's definitely teams out there who have not done anything. But has Buffalo gotten any exponentially better? I mean,
I've got 2 other ones I want to say. I think for a bad one, I would say the Bengals, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Because a lot of their defense just got depleted. Jesse Bates is gone. I know
they're going to probably go after Darius Slay. as a corner. That's probably going to happen. Philly, we lost a lot of people.
They lost Samaje Perine. Joe Mixon is going to get cut most likely.
Yeah.
Hayden Hurst is gone.
Hayden Hurst. Where did Hayden Hurst sign with?
Carolina.
That's right.
So, like, the receiving core is still there, which is good. Those guys might be there for a while.
Yeah.
Another one that I want to give props to, because they're going to get better when we see this domino piece fall. And I feel like this domino piece with the Juju signing is now levered them to be the favorite to get him, is the Kansas City Chiefs once again. I think D-Hop is in a toss-up between Kansas City and Dallas of where he wants to go to. Mm-hmm. And I think with them letting Dallas, I think Kansas City would be the better. I think Tyreek Hill's a great receiver, but D-Hop just doesn't miss anything. Like, anything you throw to him, he's there. And he's also like a coachable, like, lovable, fun guy, where like Tyreek is more consumed with himself. And I feel like that team with that there may mesh better, and it make D-Hop had a great year last year from coming off of 7-game suspension, but I think he'll be a lot better there. And also they said, Orlando Brown, we're not going to pay you, but we will get
that. I mean, that kind of hurt. That kind of hurts them a little bit. And they're about to move who they just pay from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a right tackle, and they're going to just ask him to go play left tackle like it's easy. Like, it's not. That's not a very easy transition. And Orlando Brown, go watch that Super Bowl again. Go watch that Super Bowl again. Like, Orlando Brown, our 78 sack team, nobody can get around him. I mean, Hassan Reddick, who I've been raving about all year, cannot get loose. So to lose somebody like that just literally protected your injured ass quarterback to a Super Bowl, we'll see. But speaking of, and my last thing with this conversation with the Carolina Panthers, they traded for the number 1 overall pick. I'm not sure who you guys think is going to be going number 1, but how are we looking at the Carolina Panthers right now moving forward? Because A, who do you think they're going to pick, and B, now what with Carolina? Sammy, go ahead.
I mean, it's got to be CJ Stroud, right? He's the most ready. I know AR-15, Anthony Richardson, is gaining a lot of momentum in the draft.
He's like a Cam Newton. They're used to that.
But the red flags are written all over that. And for me, I think you said it perfectly. I don't mean to be a cop-out, but for the Panthers, if they do get CJ Stroud, then it's like, well, now what? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, their defense, I think, was respectable last year. I believe it was in the top 10.
And now they don't have DJ Moore anymore.
Right. So you just lost DJ Moore. Mm-hmm. I mean, not a lot of weapons to really choose from for CJ Stroud. So it's going to be a wait and see situation with the Panthers, but that's not really a good situation to be in. But hey, that's why you have the first pick of the draft, but there's a lot of building to do. And maybe this is a good situation because they do have the defense kind of in play. And this is a division that can be won, right? With the right moves. With
they just got Miles Sanders too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
they think honestly, like, they did not miss a beat last year losing McCaffrey. Like, the running backs are still serviceable. Now they have pretty solid. I mean, their running back room is going to be pretty solid with a rookie quarterback. That's great to have.
Yeah, but I mean, this is not 1976. You know what I mean?
Okay. Laugh now. The NFC South is pretty soft.
I know. No, I'm saying it's a very winnable division. I 100% agree with that. But I mean, I'm in the same situation. We had 2 stud running backs and we had no offensive weapons. And look what happened. You look at the Baltimore Ravens. They have an even better quarterback, or a more talented, probably closer to what Stroud and Anthony Richardson is. Mm-hmm. And they have no wide receivers, and look how far it gets you. Yeah, maybe you get lucky because there's no playbook, or there's no real film on you. You don't know how the team's going to run you, so you can run into 10 wins because nobody knows how you play. But then what happens then? What happens next? But we'll see with the Panthers. We'll see how they structure it. I don't trust it. I don't know why. Whenever I see what the Panthers are doing, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's always hard. Yeah, it's definitely hard. What you think, A-Rod?
You know me, I'm like hawking this draft board. the immediate view from the rest of the world, and assuming that this is who they're going to take is going to be CJ Stroud. That's what it's looking like right now. I know
Breaking
there's
news. Sorry,
other
breaking news real quick. When we're just talking about him, Orlando Brown just signed a 4-year deal, $64 million deal with the Bengals. The Bengals. That's some badass shit right there. That's some badass
That's what I've been talking
shit
about
right
all
there.
year. All year.
That's some badass shit right there. The Bengals just flexed. They just flexed on the Chiefs
Can
right
we
now.
all change our our picks?
I take back what I said about Cincinnati.
Yo, the Bengals just made a move. Like that's a move. I'm sorry to cut you off with your take, but that's a big ass move right there.
It is. That's what they needed. That's what I'm preaching. Go get an old lineman finally.
Joe Burrow about to win some Super Bowls, guys. All right.
Yeah,
sorry.
Joe Burrow's sitting pretty.
Who are you drafting? Who you drafted for Carolina? Who are you drafting? If you will go Stroud too over Bryce?
It's me, Bryce Young is my guy. I like Bryce Young.
But
I think he's the clear cut.
You think Carolina's going CJ Stroud route?
Yeah, they typically go for a guy who's now that everything has changed. They like they'd like a guy who's mobile, but they like a guy who's bigger too. And Bryce Young is just small. So I think they're gonna go the route of getting CJ Stroud. That's what a lot of people are gearing them to draft. Mm-hmm. Also, I've been hearing that pick is not solidified yet. They may want to trade back, is what I'm hearing.
Carolina
may want to trade back.
Oh,
Indianapolis is like really hungry for that spot. So anything could happen.
They can go get Lamar Jackson. That's what they need. They just go get a proven quarterback. Don't draft Anthony Richardson and it doesn't pan out because he can't throw. You think Lamar Jackson struggles throwing a little bit? Anthony Richardson cannot throw the football. I'm sorry. Like, I know his size and speed is fantastic. Great. I watched him live when USF played him. I'm like, yo, this dude can't throw. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I think they probably go Stroud. I think if Stroud plays the way he played against Georgia, that's the lasting image I have of CJ Stroud. Like I don't know how we beat him that as many times. We beat him twice. I don't know how we did it. That dude is pretty impressive. So I gotta give him some credit. My lasting image of him is good. But I'm obviously a Bryce guy myself. I'm Mac Jones, Bryce. Jalen Hurts, this new wave of quarterback for Alabama. I like them. So Tua, Tua.
My last thing I'll say is on the outlook of the team is, of course, they traded DJ Moore, Sammy's favorite person in fantasy. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that guy's like, kind of like Jamal Williams is to the Lions. I feel like that's what he was to the Panthers. So I know there's no loyalty in sports. I get that.
Mm-hmm. Another 1,000-yard season, I believe.
Yeah, and he's a
he's a dog. He's a dog.
These other guys, Terrence Marshall and whoever the hell is there, like they haven't proven anything. I mean, you just got Hayden Hurst. You beefed up the running back core with Miles Sanders, and you're gonna have Chuba Hubbard as the two. So that looks good. The O-line is kind of sketch, but like you said it earlier, the NFC South is wide open for anybody to take it right now. And
who would you give the edge to right now?
If I had
based on where we're at right now,
Saints, still the Saints.
Okay.
Still the Saints. Yeah, I give it to the Saints. And then after that, you could, throw whatever you want, man. Like any one of those guys, because they're all really shaky. The Bucks, I would say. But that quarterback is what it's going to depend on, is that quarterback play.
And it's not like he's horrible. It's just he's not that guy to take you over where you need to get to. That's just how I see it.
Yeah.
Especially with that coaching staff, it's not going to help anything. So there's that. All right. Sammy, is there anything else in the NFL that's been on your mind that you want to talk about?
Nah, man, just waiting for the draft. Seeing
who are you looking at the draft? What number are you guys drafting?
14.
Okay.
We're either going to trade out, which I think is most likely, or we're going to get Jackson Smith, Jigba.
You think he's who's coming? Who's the first receiver coming off the board? It's not him. Is it buddy from USC? Or the buddy from TCU.
Well, we're just going to do the opposite of what we should do.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
It should be the guy from TCU, but we're going to do the opposite.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
Or trade out.
I think, and for me, I think at 10, I've just read a report. I mean, not just read, but it just came on my phone that Darius Slay might be staying in Philly after all. So
yeah, I was seeing that too.
We might not have to use the 10th pick for a corner. I think we should trade back because I swear, if Will Levis or Anthony Richardson is still available at that pick, some desperate ass team is going to give up the farm to go to 10. But I think we should trade back. We don't have too many picks in this draft, so I want to make it have a little bit more flexibility throughout the rest of the draft. And then A-Rod, obviously you're about to probably get Aaron Rodgers, but are you focused on anybody in the draft right now? Y'all have a first round pick, right?
Yeah, I told you we won, or I won, and I think the Jets won too. Is the O lineman from Ohio State, Paris Johnson, I think is his name.
The big dude.
Yeah, I want him.
Got it. All right, guys. Let's move on. It's March Madness, but we're gonna start with the NBA Madness. We didn't talk, Sammy. I wanted you on last week because the Celtics started to slip, and they look like they're slipping a little bit right now. I mean, the Sixers, we right on your heels for that number 2 seed. We right on your heels, and I would rather not face the Celtics in the playoffs at all. They just have our number. It's just plain and simple, guys. But if we have home court advantage, I'm gonna feel a little bit better about my situation when we have to play the Celtics. I asked A-Rod last week, what's wrong with the Celtics? Obviously, we don't watch Celtics games like you do, so I'm going to pass the torch to you. What's been going on with the luck of the Irish Boston Celtics over the last couple weeks?
I think it's a rookie coach still learning how to call timeouts, when to sub people, when to change momentum. Right off the top of my head, one of the first things I think of is the Knicks game. So we're going to continue to put Grant Williams on your boy and just completely get blown out.
Yeah.
And they kept panning to the bench, and it was literally right at the same time that I was talking in our chat, and I'm like, why isn't Derek White in? Like, Derek White should be out there guarding that man because he can keep up with him way more than Grant Williams can. I mean, that's the first situation. I mean, and there's also the point, like, and I said this early on in the year, I've said it last year, and last year was more of the opposite. And I was like, we're coming into this year, I'm like, we're going to look at last year and wish it was more like last year than this year because we started so hot, but then we cooled off. And we're also
I'm sorry to cut you off. That's literally what I've been thinking. I'm like, and to your point, Udoka is the defensive coach, so he would have made that substitution. Mazzulla is an offensive guy, and I feel like the end of last year bled into the beginning of this year for them, and now
it's more offense because actually our defense actually has gotten better, not since the All-Star break, but for the 3 to 4 weeks before the All-Star break, our defensive rating shot up. So I mean. He's working out both. He's trying to be both. I appreciate that a lot about him, but he doesn't know when to call timely timeouts. And my biggest fear right now, my biggest fear, I'm not even worried about Philly because I don't even know if we're going to get there. My biggest fear is if we match up with the Miami Heat and Eric Spoelstra eats Joe Mazzulla alive.
I have the same fear.
Coaching wise,
I don't want to play Miami in the first round.
We're more talented, 100%. We're more talented. We're probably one of the most talented top 6-7 players in the East. But
in the East, I think you are the most talented top 6 or 7 players. I think Milwaukee might be a little just more top heavy. I think Giannis is just that much better than a lot of players, and I think you guys have a very good combination of talent from, Malcolm Brogdon's coming off your bench, and he's fantastic.
And that's another thing is we've done a really good job with holding his minutes, keeping them at a certain place because we know we're going to need him more in the playoffs. Jaylen Brown injury, it was a fluky type of injury, but that happened. Marcus Smart injury, and then Marcus Smart, since he came back from the injury, just hasn't been the same guy that he was last year. I think there's a little pride thing with Marcus Smart. And I actually really appreciate Joe Mazzulla keeping him out there because that's our guy, right? But at the same time, it's kind of frustrating because Marcus Smart, you're not that dude, man. Like you're
He's on the floor. He's on the floor too much.
He's a good ball player. He's a guy you always want on your team, right? Because he's gonna grind. He's gonna grind every single play, but at the same time, you got to take the good with the bad because he's gonna do some stupid shit and shoot the ball with 3 seconds taken off the shot clock, and you're like, come on, pass the ball, and then you lose a game because you let Cleveland get back into the game because Marcus Smart loses you the ball. Marcus Smart
thinks. I mean, I just watch him. You know when somebody has that kind of confidence, like they don't care what no one thinks. They just know they just think I'm that guy. That's Marcus Smart times. Like Cameron Payne to me has that same deficiency.
But there's also like Marcus Smart. You need that guy. Like you need that dog in your room. You need that guy that like if you're out and you somebody steps to you, your boy's gonna step in and be like, no, that's my dog. Get the fuck out of here.
That's why
you know what I mean?
Like Tucker.
You need that scrappy guy, and he's that guy for us. So we got to keep him happy. I think we'll work it out. I think just looking at the top three, I think we know where we stand, and I don't think KK, you and I knew this. Top three was gonna be a battle.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, of course. And that was
who's in the top three.
Yeah, we knew that. Yeah.
Us, you, and Milwaukee. Yeah. Everybody probably in the entire NBA, all the pundits, everybody knew that was going to be the top three. So I think we're also looking at a perspective. Okay, let's figure out these lineups for the playoffs. Granted, there is some bad basketball being played. I'm not going to take it all away from them, but yeah, we'll see what happens come playoff time. But I worry a little bit about Joe Mazzulla, but we'll see what happens.
And I've always worried about Doc Rivers, and that's and he's a veteran coach on top of that. I mean, he got you your championship. Fantastic. Congratulations.
That was
15 years ago. That was 15 years ago. So
that was Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, I used to remember seeing him on the bench at that time. I'm like, because I would watch old film. I'm like, yo, is that Tom Thibodeau? So yeah, but so how I look at it, to me, Milwaukee is the class of the East. I've been on that train all year, and with Chris Middleton getting healthier and healthier, I just don't see. I see concerning. If Milwaukee is healthy for a whole playoff run, I think Milwaukee is going to win the NBA championship. I think whoever wins the East, honestly, should probably be winning the NBA championship this year, whether it's Boston, Milwaukee, or us. I look at the West. Name the team that you are scared of in the West if you're Boston. Like Ja Morant wasn't worried about the West, but he was worried about y'all. Now, are you worried about anybody in the West?
Right, Denver.
They don't look like, they slipping right now.
Just a matchup. I'm not saying they're more talented, but just matchup.
Okay.
But only Embiid can match up with Jokic.
Yeah, you're right. Now,
that's your only compliment for the day, by the way.
No, I'm about to ask you a question. Go look at the Sixers again, because we are tied in the loss column with 22 losses. Y'all played 48. 2 more games, so y'all got 48 wins. We just beat the shit out of Cleveland again. We're on a 6-game winning streak. We are one. I think, like, if you asked me a month ago how I felt about the Sixers, I'm like, yeah, we can't beat Boston though. The over the last week and a half, 2-3 weeks, like my level of impressive, how impressed I am with the Sixers has shot through the roof. I think we finally figured out our lineups. I feel like Doc Rivers is not getting in anybody's way, and I think James Harden and Embiid complement each other so well. Like, it's a perfect marriage. And then you throw Maxey in there, and he's just, for a young player, he just has his shit together, and he has the right kind of like Sam Cassell. You can just watch Sam Cassell is in his ear all the time. And Sam Cassell is one of those veteran point guards back in it. Like, you just know he wasn't going to do something stupid. And every time Tyrese Maxey is starting to lean a little bit more to the right a little bit, Sam Cassell brings it back in. So
I feel like Tyrese Maxey is what everybody thought Jordan Poole was going to be.
I think Tyrese Maxey what everyone thought Markelle Fultz is going to be, actually. That's how we drafted Markelle Fultz. He wasn't what we wanted, so we got the same exact player who's doing it better. Kentucky, Washington, there you go. But anyway, watching us over the last, month or so, I know you say, you're not too worried about us, but like realistically though, like, do we put any kind of fear in you, Sammy?
Sometimes. I think the only thing that I think you guys have over us is who I'm claiming the MVP as is Joel Embiid.
I'm so happy you said that.
The biggest thing, that's 2 compliments. That's all you get. That's all you
Hey,
get.
I'm here for him. Trust me.
So the only reason I say that is because it's always a question mark what Joel Embiid is going to show up for the Celtics matchup. If he's having a tremendous game and the shots dropping, we're toast. But if Grant Williams causes him a little bit of issues, if Rob Williams gets healthy and causes him issues, he shuts down in the third quarter every time. Every time.
It's true.
So
okay.
How does Giannis get away with this bullshit too? Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the bullshit Giannis gets away with?
Get it off your chest before we get to Aaron so he can talk about his lowly Knicks. Get it off your chest. What's your problem with Giannis?
I love Giannis as a person. I think he's the most genuine. I think he's most heartfelt. I love that thing that he did on that Daily Show. It was awesome. Super funny. He's such a nice guy. But man, like he gets away with murder on the court, bro. Like if a guy runs full speed at me and hits me at the size that this man is, yes, I'm going to start playing him more aggressively. So then when he starts flopping or when he goes more aggressively and still doesn't get called for charges, it's just mind blowing to me.
Sammy, did you watch Shaquille O'Neal play basketball? It's the same.
He was a center, bro.
Giannis is a 2023 center, basically.
But
like
he's running, 6'11", right? This is different though because he's running. Shaq posted. That's what
Shaq was dropping his big ass 350 pounds into your chest
in the post
over and over.
In the post. This dude is running.
It's the same thing.
This dude is running. No, he's running full speed.
You know how much I love LeBron James. There's a lot of times that LeBron doesn't get calls, but there's a lot of times I'm like, damn, LeBron pushed him off of him. Because when you're that big and strong and fast, you do what you gotta do. You do what you gotta do.
I was the big critic, like the biggest person that was critical of LeBron James, and I don't remember LeBron James getting away with this much murder. That's 3 compliments.
I'm here for this.
I'm done with that. A-Rod, go ahead.
Come back on the show next week. All right. A-Rod, first of all, obviously you're not in the top 3.
But them Knicks are cooking, bro. Those Knicks are cooking.
But the Knicks, I gotta give them the credit that I did not believe I'd be able to give them this year. Yo, they showed out. Like Thibodeau has been coaching well. The lineup has been. I mean, Emmanuel quickly. We were talking about him last week. I love the way he played.
Quickly.
I'm gonna just go out there and just score as quickly as possible. So you guys are in that. I think you avoid the play-in tournament. So 4, 5, 6 is kind of like the wave that you guys are on right now. You guys are 2.5 behind Cleveland and only 1 ahead against Brooklyn. What seed do you want? First of all. Is there like a seed that makes more sense to you?
I want the fucking crown, bro. I want the top seed is what I want.
But
realistically, I think the
home court advantage will help you guys a lot.
No, because you know who's there? Fucking Spike Lee. That's who's there. So no, it won't.
And y'all might have to get Donovan Mitchell in the first round. Donovan Mitchell in the Garden. Donovan Mitchell in the Garden, Sammy, he's going to score 48 a game.
A lot of the shit you've said on this show, KK, has been wrong. So don't trash my Knicks now. And no, we will shut down.
I don't trash the Knicks. I'm keeping it real. You want to play Donovan Mitchell in the first round?
445. We're still gonna beat his ass, man. I'm on that fucking big bong train right now.
All right, Trae Young. All right.
11-4 since the All-Star break, man.
Yeah, they're surging. Should be 12-3. We shouldn't have lost to Charlotte, but it is what it is. You can't win them all. Yeah, exactly.
Shouldn't have beat us.
They're yeah, shut up. Just take that out, bro. they're playing good basketball, and it's like surreal to see it because I'm used to another team breaking my heart. This team, we can sit here and we can say, what do you want? And I'm going to tell you the same thing. Just make the playoffs.
Well,
Just make the playoffs, and right now they're sitting like they're going to.
My friend.
I know, but that's what I wanted. I'm not going to say win a championship.
So you're not ready? Are you not ready to claim win a playoff series? Because if it's 4-5, it's y'all in Cleveland more than likely. You think you get Cleveland in the first round?
I'm ready to claim that win a playoff series. Yes, I'm ready to claim that.
That's what I want to hear.
I'm ready to claim that. But my thing is now Mitchell Robinson is pissed now. Now Mitchell Robinson is pissed is what I was reading today. He's pissed that he's getting taken out at the end. And all I can say is maybe don't foul so much, bro. Maybe like be a little bit better. But
I mean, Rudy Gobert gets taken out at the end, and the league has gifted him plenty of Defensive Player of the Year awards, and he sometimes not even playable in the fourth quarter. But that's neither here nor there.
The Knicks gifted you with a really nice contract to keep you too. So, but outside of that, I think maybe that was just misconstrued by the media. We know how we like to say the media likes to just turn anything into a story and run with it.
Yeah.
These boys are playing good. Even with Jalen Brunson out, like RJ Barrett's picking up from last year where he needed to pick up and just run with it. And he has no problem being the number 3 there. And I like that. And the emergence of Josh Hart off the bench, and Emmanuel quickly into the starting lineup sometimes and back to the bench has been surreal. It's surreal. And I'm happy for these boys. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I want Jalen Brunson back. I'm ordering a Jalen Brunson jersey this week as soon as I cash that commission check. And yeah, man, it's surreal. Fuck Boston.
I gotta give props too. I know I said this in the text message, A-Rod. I've always been a big Julius Randle fan, but Jesus Christ, 71 games played.
Hasn't missed a game.
I said the same thing, A-Rod. Like I'm
36 minutes per game.
Yeah.
Like me and A-Rod used to joke about this all the time about Tom Thibodeau and how he coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And when people bitch about Julius Randle, it's because he can do it, and he's so underrated for that reason. Because what do we always say? What's the best ability? Availability. And he is available. That was a good investment. Great investment.
Sorry, real quick, breaking news. Edwin Diaz.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Damn.
Just tore his ACL in the game.
During the celebration?
Yeah.
Man, sports, that script is be crazy sometimes, but okay, sorry, baseball. We can move on. Now let's look at the West really quickly. The West is the West is crazy right now. I don't know what the hell. I mean, there's an opportunity where Sacramento could probably finish with the number 1 seed.
Put some respect on the Kings.
There's an opportunity that can happen. I don't know if it's possible because they're only, 4.5 games is not like impossible. Let's talk about the West. Sammy, the West does not make any sense. Kevin Durant got hurt again on a freak accident. We will see when he gets back and where they're at. Golden State can't win on the road. The Clippers are starting to look a little bit better, but there's still that Russell Westbrook cloud that can still be there. Ja Morant got suspended for 8 more games today with no pay. So, we're about to find out a lot about Memphis, and then I do want to sidetrack to Ja Morant at some point. And then the play-in part. So between Golden State and the Portland Trailblazers, they're separated by 5 games. Between Golden State and the Lakers, are separated by 2 games. The Lakers currently have the last spot in the play-in tournament. So a lot of teams fighting for that play-in tournament spot. A lot of teams fighting to stay in that top 6. Denver might be okay holding on to that number 1, but we'll see. And then people coming back from injuries. So give me your synopsis right now of the West as a whole. Intriguing things that you're following, who you think is going to win the West, who's going to be left out the play-in, and then like a player that you're impressed with. Go ahead.
I think the first thing that I just want to mention is you're looking at a Kings situation where, in my eyes, when you look at kind of how that's all laid out, right? In a perfect scenario, the Kings could be in the Western Conference Finals. And that's crazy. That's crazy. With how the Grizzlies are falling, they could bump into that number 2 seed, and they could potentially make it to the Western Conference
Well, they're
Finals.
currently the 2 seed already.
With how the Warriors are struggling, with obviously the Lakers on a down year. Granted, you got to see what you get with the Suns, right? I mean, Kevin Durant obviously being out for what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
something like that, yeah.
Well, so we'll see, but we'll see when he comes back.
They lost 3 in a row, by the way.
That's just the beginning of it.
Yeah.
So, and the Warriors, like you said, like struggling, but we will see what we get in the playoffs with the Warriors, right? Because we all know everybody doubts them, and then they come out and they stay out. But
sorry,
my thing with the Golden State Warriors is it's just weird to see, how important. Damn, he killed us in the playoffs last year. Got his name in my head. My bad.
Golden State, Jordan Poole.
No, the small forward.
Gary Payton Jr.
Andrew Wiggins.
Oh, Wiggins.
How important?
Yeah.
And
he's dealing with a personal issue right now.
How him being out affects them so much because he doesn't give them, enough of that spacing, enough of that defensive spacing, defensive spacing, putting a lot of onus on Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, things like that. I mean, the Suns are obviously the favorite, right? Kevin Durant, Devin Booker.
They should be.
Chris Paul.
They should be.
Very top heavy.
But do you trust? You know how this always happens with that team, and lately with Kevin Durant. I mean, do you trust that that's going to work?
I think I do.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I think I do. Like this scenario of players is like almost a perfect storm in my eyes.
Oh no, you're right.
It's like a perfect storm for him. Look at what the last time he went to a team with 2 other scorers or 2 other competent players around him and what happened. Fits in perfectly. Kevin Durant.
It's a little different. Steph and Klay are out of this world offensive talents.
Booker's not?
That's only Booker. Chris Paul is an old point guard with bad hips and big. Still
arguably one of the best point guards of our generation.
We know that, but he's also old with bad hips. We don't even know if he's going to be. You know how he gets hurt every single season at this point now. He's like LeBron now. They just get hurt every year. Chris Paul is not getting any younger. And as perfect as it seems, it's not like they have that much depth. I mean, they lost some defense on the wing. Cam Johnson was a great scorer. Mikal Bridges, look at him in Brooklyn. I mean, he's about to be like what Shai Gilgeous is this year. Next year, he's going to be like Shai Gilgeous and dominate. So I feel like they lost some depth.
The Brooklyn Nets are like my league pass team now.
They're
fun to watch, man. They're fun to watch.
It's so much more fun to watch Brooklyn without Durant, Kyrie there.
What did I tell you about Mikal Bridges, KK?
I was talking about him earlier. We don't forget the Sixers drafted him. The Sixers drafted him, and that's neither here nor there. But but do you think you can really trust that Phoenix team, like to actually do something? Because I mean, you said you were only worried about the Nuggets, so you think the Nuggets can beat the Suns if they get Kevin Durant back?
No, but I'm just saying, you asked me who I would like in a vacuum, who I was worried about. And it was just that matchup because I think Jason Tatum owns Kevin Durant.
Well, yeah, he did.
Rent free.
He did.
Rent free.
He does. Okay. So, what else in the West? What else is
the other thing is just I just want to keep telling the Kings. I'm really I just like what they got over there, man. Like, I mean, this is another team that you look at from a perspective of like they're a very good 1 through 6, not a great 1 through 6, but a very good 1 through 6.
Solid.
They stretch the floor well. Everybody's in their right place. Everybody plays a position right. Plus, they have De'Aaron Fox, right? I mean, De'Aaron Fox is a player that you can talk about right now as a potential MVP. He's not going to be, right? Because the scoring is so high. But if you think about it, a true MVP, right? Top scorer. He's up there in top scoring. He's like 26 points per game. And he's on a team that's in the top 5 in a conference, right? And a team that's probably in the top 6 in the NBA or top 8.
And they have the number 1 offense in the league.
Correct. And
the one who scores,
he's not going to be considered, right? Because it's between Jokic, Embiid, and but you could talk about that as that. But I mean, just I don't know. They're just a fun team. Another league pass team that I like to watch, and a team that me and Vic were talking about earlier in the season as a team to kind of watch out for. They started really, really slow, and it was tough to watch in the beginning. But once they caught it, it was fun to watch.
That's like Vic's Bengals.
Yeah.
Y'all was on top of that. Okay. And I mean, and the playing situation, Luka and Kyrie, I don't know what's going on with them injury wise. So they're slipping in the standing. I mean, they're in the 9th seed now. Like I feel like just a week ago, they were like a 4 or 5 seed. I mean, they started off the season like Luka was about to win the MVP, and it's just been a weird year since then. Is it possible that Dallas misses the play-in playoffs altogether with New Orleans, Portland, and Utah kind of just right on their heels? You think it's possible?
I mean, anything is possible in that bottom 5, right? They're so close, 1 to 2 games within each other. But I think talent-wise, they're way better than a lot of those teams that are below them. And obviously because, with the LeBron injury, but I mean, anything could happen. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it likely, considering we only have 2-3 weeks left.
About 15 games.
Yeah, so like 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
So, or maybe 4 weeks left, so a month. So they'd have to go on a tremendous, terrible run, or I guess it is possible because Kyrie could come out and say some stupid shit on Twitter and not play for 10 games.
Or he just might go home because he's tired and he doesn't feel like playing basketball anymore.
I think they're just too talented not to at least stay in that 8 to 10 range.
Okay. A-Rod.
It's Arbor Day. He didn't want to play.
A-Rod, give me your Western Conference synopsis, my brother.
So I guess, the Kings for me are super surprising. We mentioned them last episode, and you told me you get to enjoy them on Thursday because the Knicks are going to play them. And I watched that entire game.
Yeah.
And I text you late at night and I got no response. I don't know.
I was asleep. I missed that. I was asleep by then.
I like you said, build Mike Brown a statue in front of that stadium right now, man. He deserves it. Those boys can shoot. They can shoot, and De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk picked it up right where they did off at Kentucky. They're playing very well together. That Red Rocket on that team, I can't stand him, but shit, God, he was hitting everything. So I'm definitely giving props to the Kings. I like what they're doing. And it's crazy to say that they're top 3, possibly top 2 in the West right now, from being a shit show basically
for the last 15, 18 years.
Yeah, the Suns. One topic I wanted to say, is how we talk about Dylan Brooks being the villain now? Is Devin Booker becoming a villain? Because he's getting really, really chirpy a lot lately.
Well, when you get Kevin Durant on your team, it's a lot easier to talk. You can say what the hell you want with your chest.
It is, but you've lost 3 games in a row lately. So
the bully's not playing right now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I was a big Devin Booker fan just because he had that Kobe mentality. He was very quiet. He was gonna kill you with his game. And now he's getting super chirpy. And I'm like, where is this coming from?
The play, I mean, is he not backing it up with his play, though? I mean, it's not like he's falling off a cliff and he can't score. He's giving you 38, 36, 35, 46. He can score with the best of them. So if you can back it up with with your play, does it matter?
I mean, with Ja Morant out, Dylan Brooks is balling too, but he's just a villain.
Call that balling.
He's a villain.
Yeah,
I don't know. The most disappointing team in the West to me right now is the Mavericks. They went and got rid of the entire team, and they're just falling. And I think they're going to fall out of the playoff contention.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I hate, Luka does not look the same. Luka does not look the same right now with Kyrie. And I'm sure they wanted it to work. I think they thought it was going to work. We saw that first game without Luka, and we saw Kyrie ball out. And then as soon as you put him on the court, it looks like lamb and tuna fish out there. It doesn't mix well. So I'm ashamed to see that for the Mavericks. AD though, man. AD is the amazing one for me right now. AD is a baller. He's back to being himself. and putting this team on his back right now while LeBron is gone. And still scary when he falls. Or gets
All the
punched in
time.
face.
He
Every
falls
time.
5 times a game minimum.
Not like Marcus Smart does, but when he falls, like it's scary to me. It is very scary to me. I want the Lakers to do well. I really want them to do well. And then another one is just like, fuck, Dame is just so good. Like,
Yeah.
can they just do something for this man? Like, I hate seeing it. Like, I think getting rid of CJ McCollum is just really fucked up the Blazers. Like, that was his.
They weren't going to do anything with him. I'm sorry. They try to be Stephen Clay. They're not Stephen Clay. Like, that's a once in a generation type of pairing. And then they threw Kevin Durant in there for a little bit. And Anthony Simons is not like he's a bad basketball player. Mo Harkless looks better all of a sudden. Not Mo Harkless. What's that guy from
Cam Reddish.
Who?
Cam Reddish.
Cam Reddish looks a lot better. Shit, Matisse Thybulle looks a lot better. But it's not that. It's Portland. Like, they don't have the dogs in their house to deal with the West. But Dame
is that dog. Dame. I wish Dame they would throw Dame's name in for MVP. I really wish they would, but I know they won't. Like
31 and 38
mentality. I know they won't, but just a big fan of Dame. So I'm proud of AD's play and Dame's play. Everybody else, I mean, you expect it from the Joker and the Kings, like, bro, just give it to the team too. Like, that's amazing to be where you're at.
Yeah.
I gotta give it up real quick to Domantas Sabonis. I mean,
facts.
if we didn't have Jokic, like, let's say Jokic never existed, we'd be talking so highly of Domantas Sabonis right now, how he
doesn't
playing,
get the love.
Like 19 points a game, 12 rebounds, and how many? It's almost 8 assists. Like, he could, like, that's almost triple double level. Like, that's crazy for a center. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, that was my last point.
And he looks a lot smoother than Jokic too. Like, Jokic is, kind of just weird, awkward looking. Sabonis, he just looks like, I mean, obviously it's in his blood. Like, it's easy for him. Like,
dog.
He just makes it look so smooth. I'm like, damn. Was Arvidas like that back? Because, Arvidas, before the NBA, he got to the NBA when he was like 34, 35. Yeah. They said when he was in Europe, he was on some like Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan kind of shit over there. So, yeah, definitely. Sabonis, Domantas, I'll give him credit too. But with the Kings, De'Aaron Fox is number 1 in the league in clutch time. So, speaking of MVP, shit. If that team finishes with the number 1 seed, as much as I want Embiid to win and as much as Giannis can win, I'll give it to De'Aaron Fox. It's what Steve Nash did back in 07, 05, 04, or 06, and then, you know what I mean? It's what De'Aaron Fox is doing right now. He's the ringleader of the number 1 offense in the league. He's brought that team from the pits of hell to prominence in the West. Like, the first or second seed is up for grabs for him. Literally just what Steve Nash did. His
and
first
it's like a fun basketball team to watch.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
It's not like ball dominant. It's like good basketball.
Yeah, I mean, they score well. Malik Monk was such a perfect addition for them. So if I have to tip my cap off to anybody, it's Mike Brown. Like, that dude, man, like, I thought LeBron was carrying him back in Cleveland. I don't think he got the credit he deserves. I think, first of all, you look at Golden State from a defensive standpoint, Mike Brown was behind a lot of that. You see that he's gone now. That defense don't travel like it used to. It does not travel like it used to. Like, Steve Kerr at this point, I feel like he's bored. I think like this, it's like, this is not, he's accomplished so much. He won 4 rings in a row in the 90s. He has 5 overall from playing. And then as a coach, he has like another 4. I mean, it's like he's accomplished so much that it's boring for him. So, what Mike Brown has done for Sacramento, like, you got to just, I mean, it's fantastic. Phoenix, like we talked about with Kevin Durant, if he comes back, him and Booker are fantastic, but so was him and Kyrie. And so it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's just hard. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see with Phoenix. Like like when Brooklyn got together, everyone was ready to give them the championship off the rip, right? It didn't work out. When Kevin Durant was with James Harden and Russell Westbrook, they didn't win a ring. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are special, okay? And I feel like they did a lot more for KD, and KD did a lot for them because it made everyone open. It was easy, right? So it's KD doesn't have that thing in him where he's like, let me, lead y'all this way. He leads by just dropping 50. Like, that's what he does. Like, he doesn't lead the way I want him to lead. And I feel like Booker is not ready to lead. And Chris Paul, as he should be a leader, Chris Paul has flamed out in the playoffs so many times. So it's like, like Clippers, Houston, even Phoenix. He like that. They were up 2-0 on Giannis. You know what I mean?
But now he doesn't really have to be that type of scorer.
He didn't have to be that type of scorer in Houston. James Harden was averaging 45 points a game.
I think he but they were putting it on him to be like De'Aaron Fox and score 25, right? Like, he doesn't have to do that anymore. Now he can just run an offense like he always wanted to. Like, his skill set was maybe come in, take a couple of jumpers for him to spread the offense a little bit more, and then keep running an offense. I think it's gonna work.
Who's coming off the bench? Terrence Ross.
That's the problem.
Terrence Ross.
That's the problem.
And that's what I was concerned about. I'm like, yeah, they look good in that starting lineup. I don't want to play that starting lineup 7 times, but that bench, they're going to lose them some games. Like, it's just, to me, it's just inevitable. Like, I look at this roster.
It's a short bench in the playoffs anyway.
But still, they lost their toughness in Jay Crowder. They lost that mentality from Mikal Bridges. They lost another scorer from Cam Johnson.
And Torrey Craig just lost a tooth. So
and Giannis, like you said, is getting away with a lot of shit. Giannis knocked his tooth out. So their bench is Josh Okogie, Terrence Ross. That's it. Damian Lee,
literally knocked his tooth out.
Ain't nothing there, dog. So Phoenix, I don't know. Now, Sammy, I haven't heard your opinion on Mr. Ja Morant yet. So can you please just give me what do you think with that whole situation?
While we were talking about it, he had an interview with Jalen Rose on ESPN.
I heard. I'm gonna watch it later.
Me too.
But yeah, Sammy, what's your take on everything that's going on with Ja?
Honestly, I was not that you guys don't have good takes, but I was super impressed with your guys' take when you were talking about it last week. And it was I think you guys touched on all the great points that could potentially be happening in his life right now. You got a guy who knows what his upbringing is, right? Like, who knows what his household was? We don't know that, right? That's not our business. So obviously in situations like this, you get out of the house, I make $200 million a year. Fuck what anybody got to say to me, right? Like, with that same ass attitude. And you guys mentioned that perfectly. And on the other side, from a team perspective, like you talked about with Tyrese Maxey, he's got a Sam Cassell. Like you talked about last week with Miami, they have Udonis Haslem. Even though there's all these distractions in Miami, a lot of those players are really stuck to the code. You know what I mean? Because they have such a good structure there. And I think in Memphis, you have such a great coach with the X's and O's, but I don't think he quite has that respect yet. And when you try to bring in a guy like Steven Adams, God bless him. He's a dog, right? He's
about to say the same thing.
It's not that leader. Yeah. Like, if you got a group of guys, young, hungry, scrappy guys, and you're gonna bring this big goofy ass Steven Adams from Australia, oi cunt, to tell everybody how to tell all these guys how to act. I just don't see it. And
yeah, I feel that.
and I feel bad for him in a sense, like whatever he's going through, like I hope he goes through the correct means to address that, because he has the potential to be one of, this generation's greatest players. Excuse me.
He could be this generation's Allen Iverson, and Allen Iverson is one of the most beloved players in the history of basketball.
Right. And that's what I was just going to say. You said that perfectly last week, where, being compared to Allen Iverson, that could probably weigh on somebody. Like, you don't know the type of pressure that could put on somebody. Just think about us, just as people in general, right? When you're at work, if you get a really stressful project and then your boss has said, hey, this is on you, this is all on you. And let's say the cost of whatever project you're working on is worth $5 million and is life or death for your job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because that's essentially what he's facing, right? With or like your job or not. That's what he's facing with these comparisons. If he doesn't live up to it, he sucks. He's a scrub, blah, 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 bottom of the scrap hole, right? But if he does live up to it, which is a lot of pressure, you know what I mean? So he does need that side of guidance to be like, hey, man, just play yourself, be yourself, and he might not have that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And at the same time, also, the last thing I want to get to on that is put your fucking phone away. Like, put your fucking phone away.
God, I'm so happy. This generation, I swear, bro.
I get what you're going through, but at the same time, I don't think I have a tolerance for ignorance, right?
Yeah.
Like that whole, I didn't know I couldn't do that, officer. That shit don't work, man. That shit does not work. So you thought holding a gun on Instagram Live was not going to get screenshotted and posted in the entire world? I don't give a shit that you have a gun.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care.
With just everything you're dealing with right now, you're in the media, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, C-SPAN. I mean, he's on the news more than he's on like Sports Center for playing basketball. And of all things you do, I'm going to hold a gun on an IG Live. Like, do you know how many followers he has on Instagram? He didn't think anybody was going to be awake to watch that. Like, come on, man. Like, just.
And I know these are rumors, and I know this is all alleged, but you look at a player, and I talked about this with my friend. I think it was in our group chat. Like, you look at James Harden. Like, he's notorious for loving strip clubs. Did we ever see videos everywhere?
No.
Exactly.
Keep it to him. Everyone knows he loves strip clubs, but he's not out there acting a fool. It's not like Ja Morant's the only player to go to strip clubs.
Hey, that picture though, that picture where he's just sitting there and just staring at the girl's ass, that shit makes me laugh every time.
If he didn't have this whole thing hanging over him, that's a legendary picture. All this money on the floor, this girl, it's a legendary picture. But now with everything hanging over him, them releasing that picture is very bad. Like, his publicist,
right,
has to be stressed.
If he didn't have the gun situation, if he didn't have the beating up the kid, if he didn't have the situation at Foot Locker, that picture with the strippers would have been a week.
Didn't matter. Adam Silver has to deal with this. That's why they suspended him to 8 games. A-Rod, do you think that 8-game suspension is fair, foul? Is it, right on point? You think Ja's gonna get the help that he actually needs?
I mean, I hope he does. I want the best for him. I was a big advocate for him in the beginning, but the not my circus, not my monkeys. I'm not gonna deal with this shit. It's not my team. I don't care, but I like the guy. And then your favorite saying, Sammy, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, man.
I dropped that same line today, by the way. Thank you, Sammy, for that one. I used that line today.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, man. This guy, we touched it on last episode. There's no reason to bring it up, but I think 8 games is fine. Mm-hmm. Just be better. Be the person we know you are. We know the job that's
without pay. Without pay, by the way. You think that's too harsh?
Yeah. Fuck them, bro. Learn from your mistakes.
Good.
Fuck them kids.
And Nike money. You got Nike money now. Fuck them kids.
Powerade already put that shit on hold. Like, all right, man. He just signed that deal.
Don't listen to NBA YoungBoy either. Just cut that shit out, man.
He's the problem.
NBA YoungBoy is 21-year-old with nine kids.
He's 23. Man. Him and Ja Morant are the same age.
Kids.
Him and Ja Morant are the same age. So that's just the way these kids think. That's just how I see it. Like, put down the phone. Like, whenever I'm out and I am intoxicated, my phone does not leave my pocket at all. And that's why, like, my girl will hit me like, where are you? And like, my phone is in my pocket. I'm sorry. Because I don't want my phone to be out when I'm drinking. It's like, you're bound to make a mistake. You're going to call the wrong person. You're going to text the wrong person. You're going to send the wrong picture to somebody. You're going to screenshot the wrong thing. It's bound to go wrong. And Tony Dungy said it best. Anything that happens after midnight, nothing good happens after midnight. And
you know what they need to do? You know how they got cars for people with DUIs? They need to make an app where you got to blow into it and get your blood alcohol content before you can open the screen.
Before you can open Instagram, like for Twitter, Instagram, MySpace, Facebook, before you can open anything, you need to be able to, like, look, are you coherent, sir?
Yeah.
Because,
you need
like,
a breathalyzer. You need a breathalyzer.
It wasn't wise. It was just, all this is happening because of him now. Like, I mean, it's not like he can blame his homeboys. He can't blame his dad. This is on him. He opened Instagram Live, not paparazzi. Like, it's just, it's stupid, it's senseless, but we'll see how it affects the team. Like, that's, at the end of the day, they thought they were about to be a dynasty. It doesn't smell like that right now. I mean, I asked A-Rod this last week. I'm going to ask you, Sammy, playoff series, because it's 2-3. If it's Sacramento versus Memphis, with Ja Morant too, who would you pick to win that series?
With Ja Morant?
Even with Ja Morant.
I mean, my answer is different with or without.
I mean, of course it's different, but Ja Morant's going to be there. But I feel like, is Ja Morant going to be there up here mentally? Because, like, physically he's going to be there, but he's dealt with a lot. And apparently, like, one of the strippers reported that he told her, look, I'm dealing with a lot of shit right now, and I'm just going to act a fool. So clearly something mentally, I think maybe all that stuff coming up is probably weighing on him, on top of the fact that, who's scared of the West and all these memes and all that shit's coming. I mean, he's 23 and, the social media is like a big deal to these kids. So maybe he really is dealing with a lot. So Memphis, even with Ja Morant, you think they'll win that series against Sacramento? Well, obviously, I would say they should, but
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he gets the help he deserves, that he is mentally ready to play. I think he's such an incredible talent. I have his jersey. He's one of the only younger players that I have a jersey of, because I thought so highly of him coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just that good, and I think that's what they need. I think the team is structured properly. I think that you can kind of put them in Sacramento as kind of a parallel structured team. Maybe besides maybe Ja Morant is obviously better than De'Aaron Fox, but you can see the parallels.
Don't say obviously. I wouldn't say obviously. I think De'Aaron Fox is.
Well, what's the best ability?
Availability. Exactly.
Don't pull out a gun on IG Live, guys.
Look, De'Aaron Fox needs to get his respect.
I got a funny story too about the IG Live thing. This was a couple years. I think it was a couple years ago. I get home at the A-Rod. I think I was out with you. We were out somewhere, and I get home. I'm drunk. I'm sitting on my couch, and I just pull up Instagram because I got a notification that Paul Pierce was live, and I was like, "Oh snap!" And that was the night.
That was the night
stuff that he was doing. And guess what I was doing? I was screenshotting the whole motherfucking thing, and I was sending it to people and be like, "Look what Paul Pierce is doing."
See, you were doing it too. How many millions of people were probably doing it, or thousands of people probably doing the same thing?
I wasn't sending it to anybody but my friends, but I was just like, "That's crazy."
And Darius Slay is staying with the Eagles. Oh my God, this is fantastic news, Howie. I'm so proud of you. Okay. I want to touch on the NCAA tourney really quickly, because this is the time of year where the NCAA makes a lot of the money that they make. So obviously it's an exciting time for basketball. But before I get there, one word answer for this question before I go to the NCAA. I'm gonna start with you, A-Rod. Is Zion Williamson going to be a bust?
No.
Sammy?
No.
Okay. Okay, just want to be sure. All right. NCAA. Normally this time of year, I'm a North Carolina basketball fan, so with them not being in the tournament this year, and USF never going to make the tournament. And then my fallback, Michigan's. I have nothing, so I am focused on winning a bracket this year. Sammy, I know you and Vic are very wise when it comes to this field. A-Rod sometimes surprises me too when it comes to this field. Sammy,
A-Rod won our bracket, so
see, as I'm saying. So, Sammy, give me your give the people some inside information about teams that could possibly be upset, and then tell me who your winner is.
The first thing that I want to mention is Alabama. Don't fall for it. I don't think they have all of the horses to go all the way. When you look at the KenPom rankings, they look very good, right? They're one of the top seeds, but they're one of the more lucky teams that are in that top seed area. When you look at their adjusted tempo, they do run a lot of offense. But I think when the pace gets high, it starts to dwindle as you get further into the tournament. We see it year after year. So that was my biggest thing, is just to kind of watch out, be careful with that Alabama pick. One team that I actually sneakily like, and one thing that I always live by, this is something that I always live by, and it always works. Always pick 12s. Always.
Oh, yeah. You have to. Yeah.
12s always win.
You have to. Who's your 12?
I like Charleston. They're one of my more favorite number 12s to win. Yeah. They're another team that kind of are in that expected win percentage. So they look at, okay, what were you expected to do? How did you achieve? And so they were expected to be good. They are good, and they run a pretty decent tempo. They have pretty good defense. The only risk with them is obviously their strength of schedule wasn't very good. They're one of the worst strength of schedules, I think, in the tournament. So that's something to be concerned about. But the tournament is different, right? You throw everything out in the tournament. So,
yeah.
And 12s are notorious for getting dubs. So I would always keep a watch out for 12s. One of my top picks, and I know it's one of those like not so sexy because everybody does it, but another team that is not lucky, right? So that's one of the biggest things. Look for a team that in close games, they don't lose by, one bucket. You know what I mean? And you want it to be even, right? In those close games, you want it to be more 50-50. If it's a little less, if it's more to one side, it's a little bit more luck. It's Gonzaga. They're one of the lower teams in luck. They run a very, very high pace of ball. They score at a high clip. They play very good defense, and they had a very good strength of schedule. And not to mention, they have one of the best players in the country. So they have the perfect storm of a team that can make a very, very deep run.
What's that conference called again that Gonzaga plays in? Mountain West?
The West Coast Conference?
Oh, West Coast. I don't know. I think it's the Mountain West or whoever it is. Whatever conference like Utah State and Boise State.
Yeah, Mountain West.
Yeah. Their strength of schedules, I looked at, because I'm doing my brackets. I'm like, all the strength of schedules were really tough.
Yeah.
Like, who is it the conference that's tough, or were they like playing?
It's a little bit of both, because you got to look at like logistically, a lot of them are going to play Pac-12 teams.
Pac-12.
And this year, Pac-12 was very good.
Yeah.
So they're going to play a lot of those guys. Arizona, again, I like Arizona a lot.
Yeah.
But I hate picking them because they break my heart.
Always.
Always
do it.
Every year. But again, all the metrics look very good for their team. They're not very lucky. They were expected to be this 30-win team. They are this 30-win team. I mean, they have a very good strength of schedule. Again, they play very good offense, very high tempo. I think their tempo's like adjusted tempos, like 70 possessions per 40 minutes. You like that. You want a lot of possessions, right? Because you just want to increase your chances of scoring buckets.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of possessions, and that's even with their adjusted defense, right? So making defense look even. So even when you make everybody even, they're still so high on that possession list. So yeah, I mean, I'm still shaky on Arizona because they always break my heart. But I like Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga is my pick.
All right, two questions before I go to A-Rod. Another 12 seed that I've been paying attention to that I may or may not pick for my bracket. How are you feeling about VCU?
VCU.
They get St. Mary's first round one.
Another team that's like notorious for being good. You know what I mean? Just having that type of March Madness pedigree. Playing in the Atlantic 10. So that's always a very good basketball conference, not necessarily from a perspective of like, oh, they have the best teams, but they play very, very good basketball. You think about the teams like Temple, even sometimes UMass. You look at Atlantic 10, it's usually pretty decently good, and they make pretty decent runs in the tournament.
Yeah.
But again, 68 possessions per 40 minutes. So they're still kind of in that upper echelon of top 10 teams that are high up there. Strength of schedule you don't love, right? Their strength of schedule isn't great. But I think that one is a little bit fluky for them. I do kind of like them 27-7. Very, very high adjusted scoring and very low adjusted defense. So that's also very good. you really, really like that based on
I like VCU for that 12-5 right there.
And the last little bit of it is they're not very lucky. So they're more on the lower end of the luck spectrum. So with those close games, they don't have a lot of close games, but they win and lose the same amount of close games. So that means they're playing a very consistent level of basketball. So
okay. And then my last question for you, because it's been a very weird year without Coach K being there with Duke. Now they over the last month, I mean, they started to look like a better team. I still feel like they're a little too young. I mean, I think they have like 1 or 2 seniors on the team, and I know it's a different time, but still, a lot of these teams in the tournament have like 5, 6, 7 seniors. And Duke has like, I think 1 or 2, and I don't think it's somebody who plays a lot. So how are you feeling about Duke? I mean, I was watching some stuff earlier, and I've seen a lot of people put them in the Final Four, like a lot of people put them in the Final Four. So where are you at with Duke?
I'm probably not going to fall into that trap too much, even though they do play in a pretty good conference. Their strength of schedule wasn't that great outside of conference. So, I mean, they weren't really challenged too much outside of their actual conference. But it is Duke. They do play a good in-conference schedule. I mean, 26-8. I mean, that's not great, but it's not bad. They're also, I'm trying to see what their luck is. They are a little bit lucky, a little bit on the higher end on luck. 65 possessions per 40. Not high, about average. But yeah, I wouldn't probably fall into that trap of Duke going to the Final Four, though.
Okay. And you said Gonzaga's your pick to win it all?
I think so.
Okay. A-Rod, the floor is yours.
I mean, what do you want me to say? My pick
just different, stuff that you've been monitoring, because I'm sure you do. Obviously, by the way, we have the Fairweather Cup podcast bracket 2023 challenge. Please sign up for that. By the time you listen to it, it might be too late. So we'll try to make sure this is released as early as possible, because I think it locks at like 11 a.m. or something like that, whenever the first game tip off. I don't know what time it's tip off, but it's typically between 11 a.m. 12 p.m., right?
Yeah, I think it's like 11:30.
11:30. All right, so make sure you get on that if you have not done it yet. A-Rod, give me your teams that you've been looking at on your bracket. Like, all right, they might make a run, maybe a team that might disappoint everybody, and then who do you have winning the whole thing?
Vanderbilt.
NIT, baby. We were Vanderbilt fans last year, big time. Texas teams this year are definitely in it. There's going to be a lot of Texas teams, whether it's the Elite 8 or Final 4. I like Houston. Obviously, they're a 1 seed. I like Texas. I like Baylor. I like all 3 of those schools from Texas. So I'm a big fan of Texas schools. I also am not buying into that Duke hype at all. It looked good the other night when they were winning, but I mean, I just feel like it's not the same without Coach K. And I'll be honest, I'll keep it a buck. I haven't watched a lot of college basketball until like the last week. I started watching just like tournaments and stuff.
For me, typically like February, like around All-Star break weekend, like that's when I start getting back into college basketball. So yeah.
and I usually pay attention to it. But the first 2 picks aren't even going to be from college. They're going to be international and G League. So what the fuck are we doing with our time?
I will say though, watching, because of everything surrounding Brandon Miller, watching Alabama has been interesting. Like I've been watching a lot of Alabama and Houston over the last month and a half, 2 months. So yeah.
I look for a couple number ones to be out in the Sweet 16. I'm not really big on Purdue. I'm not really big on Alabama. I think like they're gonna get theirs too. I'm big on Marquette. I'm really big on Marquette and what
Same.
Shaka Smart is doing with these guys.
Same.
Finally, Shaka Smart is in the right college program because I feel like they put him in Texas where the lights were too bright because Texas just everything has to be big in Texas. But Marquette has produced some ballers in the NBA, not like big men in the NBA where Texas only produces. And it's just the right small dynamic.
68 possessions per 40. Really good.
Yeah. So I like Marquette. I'm a huge UCLA fan.
Augustine, sorry.
I'm a very big UCLA. You can go down the fucking list, bro. Like, okay, TJ Ford, whatever, bro. They
got some guards. You said only big men. They got guards, bro.
They produce big men galore. It's a big
Continue. You like UCLA.
UCLA is my favorite to win it all. I got UCLA winning it all against Marquette.
Oh, okay. For me,
that's my house in this.
For me, I don't have a team that I am paying attention to is Memphis. They have a lot of seniors on that team, and then their top two scorers are like dominant scorers. They played FAU round one, and FAU has had a magical season to 31-3 or something like that. To get here is fantastic. I'm taking Memphis. And then you just said you don't really believe in Purdue like that. It would be Purdue versus Memphis if that's how it shakes out. I think Memphis takes Purdue as well. And that is Memphis versus Duke. And quite frankly, I just don't. I maybe I'm a hater with Duke, but I don't see it that they're that good to get there. So I think Memphis can make a surprise run with my dog Penny Hardaway. I think he can get them to the Final Four, Elite Eight at the bare. I think at least Elite Eight from Memphis. So that's a team that I'm paying attention to. I mentioned VCU earlier. That's another team that I'm like, okay, let me see what's up with them. I like Marquette as a Final Four team for sure. I think Marquette is up to something this year. I like Kansas as a Final Four participant again. Will they repeat? It's hard to repeat. I mean, it's not like, it's hard. So we'll see. But I like Kansas in the Final Four. UCLA, I want to say I like them too. UConn, I'm intrigued about to see if they can do anything. But overall, just kind of, and then I know you mentioned like Houston and Alabama. Like Alabama, they're going to screw up at some point. They're not. This is not Nick Saban. Like it's not the same. I think that they're not built for this. Honestly, to me. So if I had to pick my winner this year, I'm gonna go. I think maybe Kansas goes back to back. I think Kansas is gonna go back to back.
What's one thing we always preach and we haven't even talked about it?
Seniors.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm looking at all the old people. Like that's the team. I'm very focused on who's the old guys on the team and who's out of those old guys, how much of them are productive. Like you see some rosters, like they have 5 seniors starting and they're all the leading scorer. Like that to me is like, okay, that means a lot because they have people who are 22 years old starting against kids that are 18 or 19. So that's something I'm paying attention to. But I mean, looking at all the 1 seeds, Purdue to me is I don't know.
The center is 7'4".
With Purdue, yeah, I seen him. He's okay.
He's also 300 pounds.
7'4", 300.
That's Yao Ming, bro.
Yao Ming. I was about to say that's
Yao Ming.
That's about Yao.
You got a head like Barry Bonds.
And then Houston's bracket to get there. I mean, it's not like it's impossible. They can beat Iowa, Auburn. They can beat. I think Drake is going to beat Miami. I think Drake might be a team that might do something. Nah, they're not going to beat Miami. Xavier, that's my other one. I got Xavier in my Final Four. I think if it comes down to Houston versus Xavier or something like that, how would that? No, that'd be Elite Eight. I think I got Xavier making it to the Final Four. So Xavier, Kansas, Marquette, and Arizona is my final four. And then I'm gonna pick Kansas to win it all, though.
Xavier's a really good pick because despite being one of the most unlucky teams, they're still 22-10 and a 3 seed, which I think is insane.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy. But
it means
I wanted to
something
touch
me.
on your what you were mentioning about crap. I forgot what the team. Oh, UCLA. I was giving I wanted to give A-Rod his flowers. UCLA, one of the most consistent teams in the country. Very good pace. And they're also even. Like when you see somebody's luck as even, that means in close games, they win the same amount as they lose. And so that means they're not getting it bounced. They're not getting lucky bounces either way. If this were to go infinite, that means they would be about 50-50 in those close games. So UCLA is who you thought they were. So I think that's a pretty solid pick.
So UCLA versus Kansas, how would you look at that one if that becomes a matchup, because that's possible?
Kansas is one of the most lucky teams in the country at plus 106. It's insane.
UCLA beating them.
That's crazy.
Damn.
But they're still very good. Like if you look at for Kansas, they're 69.2 possessions per 40 minutes. That's really, really good. They have one of the best strength of schedules. They have one of the best adjusted efficiencies with their offense and defense. Because I think they score 115 points a game, and they only give up 92 points a game, which is fucking crazy. Like if this were to go 48 minutes, which is nuts. Like that's so crazy.
Now, and then off of A-Rod's point, and we can leave it here. He mentioned like these teams, like Texas teams are right? Who do you think is the best team out of Texas? Is it University of Texas or is it the other ones? I know A&M's in it. Baylor's in it. Obviously, Houston.
Houston's a 1 seed.
Yeah.
Texas has got a nice little surge going on right now. Make the 2 seed.
They do.
I think Houston returned a lot of players.
Houston did. I think that's the one plus they have, but their non-conference strength of schedule is not great. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not good. So 31-3 looks good, but it's like, but you smashed on USF. So.
And then Memphis smashed them in that championship game. I mean,
right.
That's why that's my lasting image of Memphis. That's why I'm so like, damn.
And that's big.
They can really remember when UConn made that run with Kemba Walker. I watched that Big East championship game. I'm like, I think UConn's gonna make a run. Like you can just feel it. Like, and they were like an 8 seed as well, right? So I just have like this feeling with Memphis. They've failed a lot in the last few years. I feel like something is cooking there. So that's why I'm trying to figure out how I feel about that. But who is the best team in Texas, though?
I probably think best team. I mean, you have to say Houston, but a team that I probably like better is TCU.
That's an intriguing one. I've been looking at TCU.
They have star power, right? They have one of probably the top 15 prospects or the top 10 prospects coming out. And then obviously you look at all their metrics, they're really good. Strength of schedule sucks again, but I mean, sometimes that's just, what's being played for you. Not very lucky. Actually more unlucky, and they're still 21-12. So
I'm trying. What side of the bracket is TCU in? They got Arizona State. Then they would have to play Gonzaga. So that's probably where the party ends. So yeah. All right, we'll see. Anything on your mind, Sammy, that you want to get off your chest before we check out?
Hold on, let me look real quick at the Premier League goal leaders.
Oh my God!
I just want to make sure that I'm okay, because I know I got to come on when it happens at the end of the year.
We're starting a GoFundMe for Sammy to get so we'll be dropping that.
Lakers lost.
Trying to find the stats.
Jeez Louise, man, that's terrible. That's terrible. How do you not play Anthony Davis? Who cares if it's a back-to-back? It's Houston. Anyway, continue.
Right, so we have. All right, so I'm still good. So Ivan Toney is still above Marcus Rashford.
How many
Harry Kane is still obviously at number 2, and Erling Haaland, nobody's going to catch him.
Bro,
So
did you watch what he did?
We did.
That dude, I had to drop everything I was doing and text a couple of my fans of said human being, this Norwegian guy.
he's the man.
Yo, he's him for real. Like I have nothing bad to say about him. He is him for real.
So to give maybe your listeners who don't understand what he's achieving. So imagine if you took a guy from the G League, right, who was dominating the G League, then you put him into the NBA, and then he's putting up MVP numbers.
33 points a game, basically.
That's essentially what he's doing
rebounds,
right now.
7 assists.
By going from the German league, going to the Premier League, and making it look like it's child's play.
Mm-hmm. And as a Man U fan, it's a lot for me to talk positively about anybody from Manchester City or Liverpool or a few teams. But I watched this dude. I'm like, oh my God, yo, he is for real, for real. He is that guy. So,
but I have to give it to you guys. I am very nervous about this Marcus Rashford situation.
Thank you.
I didn't think I was ever going to get this nervous,
man.
But I'm nervous. And yeah,
he's impressed you. I know he's impressed you.
Very much so.
All right, thank you.
This is like the Rashford that we wanted, right? That we've wanted for years.
Ronaldo was blocking him over the last couple. You know what I'm saying? So he just needed to get out of that shadow. Pogba shadow. It feels more. Obviously, Bruno and Casemiro. We got a lot of talent, but it feels like this is his team right now.
I'm sorry, A-Rod. He's not trash.
Thank you. That's all I
have. You go buy
the
jersey? Buy the damn jersey.
Not yet.
Buy the damn
jersey. He's got to take out. He got to take over Ivan Toney. He hasn't yet.
Fair.
How many goals was it?
How far is?
It's 16-14, so it's close.
We gonna get we get.
I think it was 6. Now it's only 2. So.
We get. Hey, Rod, he gonna have to buy that damn jersey.
Have to buy the jersey, yeah.
Buy the damn jersey.
I got mine, so we're good.
And I'll get like a plastic crow so I can eat it on the podcast with the jersey on.
We'll see.
It'll be my background, just you eating a crow.
Can't wait. Can't wait. And that's how we're gonna end the show with Sami knowing that he's about to be eating crows. So no, Sami, go ahead. Plug.
Yeah, I'm going to find you.
So you guys can find us on YouTube at Townie Sports Podcast. We have been on a little bit of a hiatus. I have marathon training and stuff like that. So been really busy with work and stuff. So we haven't really put on, but we talk about a lot of the same stuff you guys do. We go a little more in detail with the stats, as you can see with some of my March Madness stuff. Gets a little
they gamble, guys. They gamble.
And we do a lot of Vegas odds, Vegas gambling, give you guys some tips to make a little bit of beans or money if it's legal in your state. But yeah, and then on Instagram you can find us at Townie Sports Pod or Townie_sports, and on TikTok at Townie Sports Pod. But it's me and my boy Vic. We've been friends since middle school. So yeah, we talk sports, and obviously there's a lot of Boston stuff, but probably not as much this year because
Boston.
Go Yankees.
Yeah, Vic's a golfer too.
Where can they find us?
You can find us on Twitter at fair_weather_pod, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Just search the Fair Weather Podcast. You'll find us there. And wherever you subscribe to listen to podcasts, you'll find our audio there as well. Words of wisdom.
Actually, my words of wisdom is an apology because I still haven't made the TikTok yet. Like I said, I would 2 years ago. So I got to get on that. That is my word of wisdom, is that if I told you I'm gonna do it, I'm going to do it. So if you tell somebody you're gonna do it. So better late than never. I'm gonna get that TikTok going, and we're gonna have some footage to give y'all, like the kids like to hear. You know what I mean? Like we're about to get into the business of making sure that everybody can enjoy the Fair Weather Podcast, however you listen to it, wherever you listen to it, and however you watch it. So fly, Eagles, fly. Go Pats. Jets. Hey, yeah. Jets. All right, cool. Adios.